and keep on driving and driving along the road tonight. Lost my head over my back between the jars and bottle jack. Just me and all the red lights. Keep on driving and driving. forgot to look beyond. I see the other side. So give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat. Now that's an understatement. To walk alone, I guess it's my repayment. Please give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat.
Tell me, why'd you have to go and drive me so crazy? Now I'm feeling lost without you, and I just can't be without you, baby. Want you all night long, want you all night long. Tell me, why'd you have to go and drive me so crazy? Now I'm feeling lost without you, and I just can't be without you, baby. Want you all night long, want you all night long, want you. Watch all night, 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 watch all night. Tell me, why'd you have to go and drive me so crazy?
Hello and welcome. I'd like to congratulate you for being here. I have a great deal of respect for your investment in time, and I don't take that lightly. In fact, I just have a couple of tips I would want to go through first before we start the broadcast with Kerwin. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Brands, and I've been supporting Kerwin in the live events for the last 10 years, and now I get to support him in these broadcasts. So let's get to those tips. The tips that I wanted to cover today have to do with the quality of this broadcast and how you can get the most out of this broadcast. So let's first cover the quality. You might be getting this broadcast and there might be some quality issues that you're experiencing on your end. It could have to do with your download speeds. What I would recommend is that you go to the settings in YouTube on the bottom of this window and just check the settings and make sure that whatever the settings are on, let's say it's on 1080, that you maybe lower it down to 720. And if it's on 720, that you maybe lower it down to 360. Because again, it could just have to do with your download speeds on your end. The second tip that I have comes down to your participation and your note-taking. Try to participate full out. If Kerwin asks a question, I actually want you to participate and just yell back the answer. Nobody's going to know unless you're maybe on a bus. That could be awkward, but participate fully. You'll get more out of this. Now, in regards to your notes, I really want you to take copious notes because there's going to be some golden nuggets in the next 2 hours that you really want to capture. And you want to jot down so that you can turn back to them and remember what those notes were. Now, I want to set a challenge for you. I don't want you to just take notes for the sake of taking notes. I kind of want you to take notes like your life or your business depended on it. Because right now in the current environment we live in, that could be the case. Actually, I'll go one step further. I want you to take notes like somebody else's life or somebody else's business that you care for deeply dependent on it. So, those are my 2 tips. Without further ado, I want to introduce to you my friend, the man on a mission, Mr. Kerwin Ray.
Hey, FGS, how are you guys going? Well, we have people from all over the world that have dialed in for this experience. And first of all, I want to welcome you to the Fast Growth Summit experience. Digital, the first time in the history of civilization that I've ever run Fast Growth Summit social media series digital. And I'm super excited for a whole range of reasons, because normally I do this in a live context. Okay, normally I do this with an audience around me. Normally we have a sold out audience, packed to the rafters. In many cases, people sitting on the floor, standing at the back of the room. And this way we can actually expand it to the entire global audience and give everyone the same benefit without me even having to get out of my house. I'm coming to you from the very sunny Byron Bay in northern New South Wales, and today I'm going to be taking you guys through some incredible content around how to grow your business and how to build your business. But obviously in the time that we're in right now, there's never been a more important time to really understand how to grow your business, how to pivot your business, but more importantly, take advantage of the situation we're in right now. And the situation we're in right now is obviously with what's going on. You know, there's a lot of words being thrown around: crisis, pandemic, recessions, depressions, all sorts of bits and pieces. But the reality is your reality. And right now, everyone's got their own reality to deal with. But if you're tuning into this right now, I'm going to assume one of your realities could be the prospect of a level of fear or possible insecurity, or even excitement at the prospect of what's going on in the economy and in the world right now. But here's what we know. Economically speaking, globally speaking, historically speaking, with every great challenge, okay, is also presented and paired with a great opportunity. And right now, there's never been a greater opportunity, and there's never been a more captive audience. And so tonight, I'm going to be specializing specifically on social media. My background, my pedigree is really like 360-degree business. Tonight's going to be specifically, or today is going to be specifically around social media. But to give you guys context, for the last 20 years, I've been buying, building, selling businesses. And, you know, I worked out pretty early on in my employment career, after doing about 48 different jobs, that I wasn't really good working for other people. Don't get me wrong, I loved being given a paycheck, but I hate being fucking told what to do. And my first response was to tell someone where to go. And so I had to work out how to work for myself pretty quickly. But more importantly, because I actually have a little bit of ADHD, my first 3 businesses actually failed quite spectacularly. And I'll tell you why. Is because they move too slowly. And when things move slowly, I get bored. I'm not sure if you can relate to this. And so one of the things that I had to hack in my first 3 years of business as I was failing is, how do I make these things move fast enough to maintain my attention for long enough that I actually fucking succeed and I don't fall out of interest and I don't fall out and lose motivation, as people say. And that's where I actually learned how to grow businesses very quickly. And my expertise is really in that space. My expertise, although we're very good at social media, but my expertise is really in the fast growth space. I'm really good at taking a business and growing them quickly. And you're going to see a lot of case studies, if you haven't already, of the work that we do with the clients that we've worked with. And we've got hundreds, if not thousands, of case studies of people whose businesses of, you know, 1x, 2x, 3x, 10x, in some cases more. And these aren't startups going from $1 to 100. In most cases, these are very established businesses. So today, you guys are in for an absolute treat. You're getting the Fast Growth Summit social media series, but I know some of you are probably thinking, well, I know he's probably just going to give us enough information to get a little bit excited, but then if we want the really good stuff, we're actually probably going to have to pay for it. Well, look, if you've never been to one of my events before, I would forgive you for perhaps thinking that, because that's what a lot of people do. But that's not how I play. The content I'm actually going to be giving you guys today is actually from a paid program called Nail It and Scale It. Now, I get a lot of people asking me, have I got a book? Have I got products? And the reality is, I don't have a book. Okay, I don't have a lot of products. I've really only got one product available for the general public, and that's called Nail It and Scale It. And we only open the doors in that a couple times a year, okay? And that is a 360-degree performance program for business, a fast growth program for business. And the content that I'm going to be sharing with you today actually comes from that. And I'm going to give you my entire social media strategy. I'm going to even break it down for you and show you exactly how we're making money from social media right now, okay? Because after all, I'm giving you a segment from a paid program, okay, from Nail It and Scale It. And I want you to see the value that you get. Because the reality is, most people up until now haven't been able to work with me for a whole range of reasons. Number one, everything we do sells out. Every time I run an FGS tour around Australia, it sells out every single time. Okay, in most cases, weeks in advance. Every time we run a Nail It and Scale It, it sells out. Every single time, has done for the last 4.5, almost 5 years now. And so what we now have is, we now have the opportunity to go to a broader field and be able to impact more people through the digital version that we're going to be producing and sending, or not sending, we're doing this live. This shit's live, baby, that you guys are experiencing right now. And so the cool thing is even if you do want to work with me, up until now, that opportunity for many people has been very limited to their ability to actually get in the room. Now, the game's going to change. For those of you that do want to work with me, if you stick around to the very end, I have got a fucking incredible surprise for you that is going to blow your mind, but you've got to stick around to the very end. But my promise to you is, if you do, it'll absolutely be well worth your while, because we're going to be announcing something we've never announced before in the history of civilization, my civilization anyway, and I don't even think I'm that civilized. If you ask Paul, I'm probably a little bit of a rat bag. But anyway, my point being, we have some incredible stuff to share with you at the end, so you've got to hang around to the very end. But if it's okay with you guys, let's get ready to rock and roll. You guys ready to rock?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Louder. You guys ready to rock? All right, well, let's get on. Well, why don't we come back to my desk? Here's one I prepared earlier where I can have a bit of a chat with you guys. And obviously, I won't tell you that I've got my slippers on right now, but the fact is with digital, we get to mix things up a bit. So I'd like to introduce you to my new desk. Adds a little bit of a different feel, but we're going to go from here. So let's crack on with it. We'll get ready to go. So here's what we're going to do, guys. In the next 90 minutes, I'm going to be taking you through the current state of social media. Normally, I do this in Australia context. This time, we're going to be going global. We're going to have a little bit of a look outside of just the Aussie world that we live in right here. I'm also going to be taking you through the platforms. Now, we obviously play on all platforms, but we're going to be focusing specifically on the platforms Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. Now, we also do a lot of work on TikTok, on YouTube, and LinkedIn, which we do cover, okay, in a lot more detail at NISI. But for this event, for this program to be able to deliver it in the time that we've got, we're going to focus on those three because they're the ones that actually, to be honest, that I've been able to hack the most for the greatest commercial benefit. But I'm also going to take you through the hacks because I'm going to assume you know how to post a video on Instagram. You know how to do a status update on Facebook. That's not the hard part. The hard part is the commercialization. How do you take this media, this new form of media, that's not that new after all, it's been around for a long time now, and how do you actually commercialize it? And that's what I'm going to show you how to do. That's really my expertise tonight for you in terms of the value I'm going to give you. And we're also going to, if we get through everything in time, I'm going to actually take you through the fast growth formula. Now, I'm not really good at a lot of things. I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't play a musical instrument unless you call musical instruments the sounds of the body. I'm not good at a lot of things, but there's three things I'm really good at. The first thing I'm really good at, okay, is I'm an incredible dad. Okay, I really am. And I say that with my hand on my heart because I just love the process and the act and, yeah, the responsibility of being a dad and everything that comes with it, the good, the bad, and all the diarrhea as well. The second thing that I'm really good at is I'm really good at growing businesses quite quickly. But one of the reasons I'm quite good at is I'm really good at creating processes and frameworks and structures. And because what a lot of people may or may not realize, you know I'm really good at this space. If you've been around for long enough, you'll know that. But I get paid in some cases stupid money, many, many multiples of what most people would earn in a year, in some cases 10 years, okay, to actually come into businesses for short periods of time and show them what I do. Okay, and so for me to be able to do that, and whether I'm working with, someone's paying me hundreds of thousands or someone who's paying me 100,000, or whether I'm working with someone at Nail and Scale, I need to have a model. I need to have a methodology. Okay, and my model is based on 5 things, and if you do these 5 things well, and you don't even have to do them great, but if you do them reasonably well, your business starts to grow at a rapid rate of knots, and the real cool thing is you actually start to get more of your life back. Now, I know that sounds like a big, hoo-ha and a bit of a narrative, but what you're going to see today is you're going to see stories of people who went through that process. And at the end of this session, if you stick around to the end, okay, I'm actually going to take you through my actual model, my formula, my methodology. What is my fast growth formula? What are the 5 things that when I go into a business that I do every single time, bar none, whether there's 1 person or 1,000 employees, okay, whether they're turning over $1 or 100 million. These 5 things every single time. So if you'd like to know that, hang around to the very end, and I'm going to share that with you as well. So my promise to you, if you haven't worked it out, as I do talk a little quickly, okay, listen faster. Whatever you do, don't go to the settings and go 1.25. I'll fucking burn your noodle. I really will. I will over-deliver on value. I'm going to give you guys basically my entire social media blueprint. And not basically, I'm giving you my entire blueprint for Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. And I am making tens of millions of dollars from those 3 platforms combined, tens of millions just from Facebook. And I'm going to give you all of the value and the hacks that are going on the inside. I'm going to give you the truth and pull no punches, and that's a pretty arrogant statement. I'm not going to assume that my truth is your truth. We've got 2 very different lives. Okay, everyone's got their own life, and I certainly wasn't born with a silver spoon at my butt, but I did have my own experiences. And one of the experiences that I've learned that is fundamentally true, that I think we could all agree on, is the fact that business is really difficult. Business is very, very difficult. And I've got some statistics to back that shit up. Because the reality is, if you want to build $1 million business from scratch, and a lot of people don't know this, do you know how long on average it takes in the Western world to build $1 million business from scratch? On average, 7 to 10 years. But that's not even the part that hurts. Guess how many businesses actually survive from year 1 to year 5? It's about 4.8, 4.6%. That's a massive fall off. And we're not even at the 7 to 10 year period where most people crack it to that 7 figures. And guess what percentage of businesses actually survive until year 10? 1.8%. So the probability of you being here in 10 years, especially with what's going on right now, has already plummeted. And so when I tell people these stats, I fundamentally say, well, first of all, I know what you're thinking. In fact, I thought he was a motivational speaker. That's not very motivating. It's not, but it's the truth. And honestly, I find when you tell people the truth, that's one of the most powerful ways to motivate them, because the reality is, if you can't get your fucking shit together now in your business, you're fucked. Okay, and every single person who is dependent on you right now, if you can't get your shit together in your business, is also fucked. And so what you need to do in the context of understanding the difficulty that was already there, compounded with the difficulty that we're facing, is you need to look for every single possible hack you can find, every innovation, every pivot, every contingency as an option so that you can feed and fill your brain with ideas to perform better than what you were when even the sun was shining. Okay, we've got to get real. And I also want to have a bit of a conversation with you. Okay, and by conversation, if I'm talking to you, as John said, answer out loud. As long as there's no one else around him, it'll give him something to talk about. But it makes you feel like we're in a dialogue. And the more you participate in the learning experience, the more of this information that's going to stick. If you just sit there and take notes, okay, it jumps up to like 14 to 16% retention. But if you take notes, you listen, okay, you actually actively talk to me as if I'm right there, right now, like this, okay, your retention jumps north of 50%. So my advice is, and this is an accelerated learning methodology, by the way, which is participatory learning. When you participate in the learning experience, you retain the information better. And I'm sure you've got experience from this. Like if someone tells you how to do something, in one ear, out the X, if someone shows you what to do something, it might stick a little bit more. But if someone tells you, shows you, then gets you to do something, then it's easy. And that's one of the reasons we do what we do in NISI, because a lot of people don't realize, my trainings aren't like everyone else's, except for this one. I'm going to dump a lot of information on you guys. It's very strategic, very tactical, but we're not doing execution in this moment. But what makes me different, guys, and I'll be very clear on this, is I don't just sit there and I'm not into like a participation. I'm not into doing events where people just participate, sit there and listen and take notes. I'm into the type of events where people get their hands dirty. I'm into the type of events where people actually do things, and at the end of every day, they've got things that they've produced, okay, from the lessons that they've learned. And I should really warn you, when people work with me, they don't really understand the level of execution. So when we do NISI, as an example, it's 3 days of execution. We have people making money in the actual event because we execute on so many of the things. And so as I am talking to you right now, one of the reasons you've got to understand, the reason we get that success is because I get people to participate actively in the learning process, which is what I'm going to ask you guys to do right now. Okay, so before we get into the juicy details, a lot of people always ask me about my story. I'll keep this bit nice and short, but a lot of people really do ask. And so look, I think it's fair to give you guys a bit of a background. So I was hatched at NASA in 1974. Whoa, what's going on there? All right, I was hatched at NASA. Did I do that? In 1974. I hatched at NASA. No, fucking hell, Kerwin. How many times were you hatched at NASA? 1974. No, I wasn't. I was born in Canberra, 1974. But the short version is, I've had a number of experiences in my life, and they've all revolved around this concept of death. And I had my first near-death experience at the age of 15. There's a slide of me up there right now. Now, to give you context, at the age of 15, up until this point, I'd failed every single subject from year 1 to year 12. Okay, I was diagnosed at the age of 7 with ADHD and dyslexia, and I was told I was learning disabled. I actually was told by someone important in my life that I was stupid on a regular basis, and so I didn't have a lot of academic potential. Okay, and then I grew up my entire life thinking that I was going to become a professional athlete because I didn't have any academic potential. And then at the age of 15, I get drunk for the very first time on a very masculine beverage, I should say. It's called West Coast Cooler, quite masculine, not a girly drink, is a bit of a girly drink. And on my second stubby at West Coast, I went running down a hill with the stubby in my hand, and I tripped over because there was long grass there with the stubby in my hand, and I fell forward, and the bottle was in my hand as I fell down, and it broke. And it severed all my nerves, all my tendons and main artery. And I nearly died on the side of the road 13 days after my 15th birthday. I was rushed to hospital, 13 and a half hours of microsurgery, 2 blood transfusions later. I was brought in, and this is where I was. My mum was actually overseas at the time, so I was all by myself. And the doctor said to me, "Hey kid, I hate to be the one to tell this to you, but we've done everything we can to save and repair the damage to your hand, but it was pretty severe. So you're going to end up with a hand that looks something like a claw without physical therapy. You'll be lucky to get maybe 20-25% use of your hand back, but don't worry, you'll be eligible for disability pension." Now, at that point in my life, that was earth-shattering, because I thought, the 2 most important things to a 15-year-old right-handed boy, what do you think they were? Don't be bloody rude. It wasn't that. It was sport and girls. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, how am I going to go on the football field and say, "Kick it to me"? Who's going to want to play? Who's going to want me on their team if I'm disabled? And then I was like, how am I going to pick up a girl at Pimlico Blue Light Disco on a Saturday night? I've got a claw. Maybe I can go up and ask a chick if she wants a back scratch. I don't know how that's going to fly into a request for a phone number or a dance. So I was devastated. I had to take 12 months off school, 9 months in rehab full time. Okay, and where I lived, it was a 3-hour round trip to the hospital in a bus, and it was a 3-hour round trip plus an hour and a half to 2 hours every day. I couldn't go to school for 9 months. But what I learned at the end of the 12 months, which is what gave me the best education in my life, is how to overcome a massive obstacle. Because I remember sitting down with the doctor 12 months later, and he said, show me your hand. And I started doing this. And he said, son, what you're doing is medically impossible. And at the time, I didn't really understand the impact of that statement. At the time, I didn't really understand how profound it was. At the time, I was still angry. But now looking back, I realized I was given the most incredible gift that any human being, any growth being, any being that grows can be given. And that was a gift of massive adversity, enormous adversity. And I was able to overcome it. But I was able to do that at the age of 15, and that became my blueprint. And so by virtue of this serious, severe accident that traumatized myself and many other people, this was the very building blocks of my life. And this set me up beautifully because in 2009, I had my 7th near-death experience. I've had enough now, okay, we won't go into all the details, or I actually had a massive stroke. And as you can see there, that's almost 3 centimeters of my brain that was scar tissue, and that was me in intensive care and being transferred from an MRI. Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you and the reason I'm opening myself up so much is because within 3 hours of me having the stroke, I lost the ability to communicate properly and I had a 15-second memory. And the only thing that a 15-second memory is good for is hiding your own Easter eggs, and frankly, it wasn't that time of the year, so it was kind of useless. But the long and the short of it, the doctor said that this damage could be permanent. They said, look, you'll be off work for at least 12 months. I was back at work 6 weeks later, and now you'd virtually not even know that there's been anything that's actually happened to me at all. It's so much funny when we do this live. But I hope you're pissing yourself right now. But my point being is, when the doctors said to me this could be permanent, I didn't listen to the doctors, and I mean no disrespect to the medical community. I listened to myself. And I went back to the 15-year-old kid who was told he was going to be disabled, who went to the doctor and looked at the doctor and thought to himself, fuck you, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get my hand back. And that's basically what kicked in. And I was told I would be back at work for at least 12 months. I was back at work 6 weeks later. Now, the reason I tell you these aspects, obviously, yes, there's a lot more to my story. Okay, I've failed spectacularly in my first 3 years in business, but I since discovered I've got 3 brain injuries and a physical disability. Not just one, I've got another 2 that were sitting there we didn't know about. Failed every single subject at school. I suffered from shiny objectitis. I worked well in a job but couldn't take authority, but I failed on my own before I actually got help, which is what a lot of people do. You know, you work for a dickhead and you go, I fucking hate working for this dickhead, so you resign, and then you go and work for an idiot, which is yourself, and you're like, 6 weeks later, you're like, gosh, the reason you quit in most cases, like myself, I quit because I was sick of being told what to do. But then I got into business, and 6 weeks in, I'm like, man, someone tell me what to do, because I don't have a freaking clue. I know how to do a function in a business that I was hired for, but running a business, it's a whole nother ballgame, ladies and gentlemen. You know, there's more to running a business than just being a salesperson. There's more to running a business than just being a good marketer. There's more to running a business than just being a good service provider. There's 360 degrees of business that we need to be prepared for. So as I said earlier, I'm going to show you guys, we're literally about to jump into the content right now. But before we do, I'm going to show you a quick case study of some clients, a tattoo studio who worked with us at Nail and Scarlet and got some pretty incredible results.
It was a small investment for great ROI. We've been able to not only 2x our revenue, 3x our profit, but both of us reducing our hours by at least 50%.
We've also gone from a team of 9 to 23.
Yeah, and we're now scaling from 1 business to 5. We've really learned how to systemize and grow at scale.
All right, Josh and Maylise. And here's another one from Sasha Hopkins, who's in the property game. And this is another incredible case study of someone who came in and whose business was blown.
I wanted to find someone that is the best in Australia to be able to help me, because my goal was also to be the best. I was still on a reasonably very positive trajectory. However, I was lacking the guidance. I was lacking the game plan, the roadmap. The business had done around 1.7 mil turnover, and then within finishing off that financial year, so it came in November, we did 3.7. So I basically doubled net profit and just over doubled the turnover as well. Then the next financial year came along and I went from 3.7 to 8.4 mil and net profit of 5 mil.
I want you to think about that, a net profit of 5 mil. Like, what is the impact of that? Like, what's the effect of that? Not just on your business, but also on your family. Okay, because that's 5 mil net is the kind of money that changes people's lives. Okay, so let's look at the long game. So the long game really kind of represents business, but we're really talking about social media. John, you want to make sure all your screens are up, my friend. When we look at the long game around the context of social media, we are got to understand this little principle that helps us understand how to distinguish between the types of media that we need to be publishing. Because old school media is based on old school principles, and social media has a completely new set of principles that most people haven't really interpreted yet. And we'll talk about what that is, because there's a concept that drives social media that a lot of people aren't aware of. It's called the mere exposure effect. Now, the mere exposure effect is a psychological phenomena whereby people tend to develop a preference for things once they become familiar with them. Now, in social psychology, it's also referred to the familiarity principle. And what that basically means is we need to see things or people or products a few times before they grow on us. And you probably know yourself, you have to see something a couple times before you feel compelled or even motivated to even have a conversation about something. But when we look at the context of the new media and reflect it against the old media, we've got to understand the distinction of how this impacts. So from a commercial sense, what does the mere exposure effect mean? It means, on average, that the average consumer in 2005 needed to be exposed to a business, a product, or a service, or a brand, on average, 5.4 times before something was triggered inside their mind that enabled them to feel a level of comfort to reach out and have a conversation. In 2012, it was 12.8 exposures to a business, a product or service or a brand. And they predicted by 2020 it was going to be as many as 20 exposures were required. Now I want you to think about that. How do you expose yourself, your business, your product, your service or your brand 20 times without pissing someone off? Because if you're using old school traditional marketing concepts, which is driven by what? What is old school traditional marketing concepts? It's direct response advertising. Okay, direct response advertising is where we have strong offers and calls to action. Okay, its number one purpose is to generate data in the form of an inquiry or to make a sale. There's almost no context around the connection of the relationship outside of the positioning from authority statements and maybe credibility statements that have been made. Okay, the new school of media is totally different. Because if you're taking old school traditional direct response, and I call that sales and marketing douchery, sales and marketing fuckery, and if you take that douchery and you apply it in a social environment, here's what's going to happen. What's going to happen is the equivalent of you inviting 50 mates over for your birthday party and one of them rocking up to sell something hard with a big fucking quote card, okay, advertising their fucking services, and they're going around and handing out, flyers to everyone. Would you invite that person back? No. Why? Because that's socially inappropriate. It's a socially inappropriate context to be behaving that way. And this is what we've got to understand about the rules of social. It's a social media first. It's not a traditional media. And so this is where we've got to ask the question, how do we get exposed 20 times? We create content that people actually want to consume. Okay, we create what an audience want, which is to watch things, to be inspired, educated, entertained, informed, made to laugh, or have their problem solved and value added. And people have demonstrated this time and time again that they will invest their eyeballs, their time and their attention if you can provide content that is of service, that does solve a problem. And so with this new school of media, I call this utility media. Old school is direct, so old school media versus the new school media. And the new school media I call utility. Now why do I call it utility? What does utility do? It helps. Okay, and that's why we've got to create content that is helpful, inspiring, educational, informative, okay, whatever it is, it's desirable to be consumed. If you look at every single video that I produce, 99% of my 99.9% of my content that I produce, what's missing from it? There's no call to action, there's no sell, there's no pitch, there's just serve. And do you know what I get every single day? Hundreds of messages in my direct messages from people all over the world saying, Kerwin, I want to buy something from you. Okay, without me even dropping a product. I don't even have a fucking book. Okay, I get asked like 50 times a day on social, can I buy a book off you? Have you got a book I can buy? Okay, maybe I should write a book. I hear you, I know, it's coming, all right? And so is Christmas. But we've got to understand this is what drives the social economy. And this is why social media has a 100% higher lead to close rate ratio than outbound marketing when it's done well, because the leads are warmer. You're not trying to sell to a cold audience, okay? Shoppers who view video are 1.81 times more likely to buy than non-viewers. And 1.81, by 1.81, I'm referring to, that's 181%. That's almost 200% more, okay, just because they watched a video. What does that mean to you? It means you need to be watching, sorry, I just spat on myself. You need to be doing video even if you've got a face for radio. Because if you started doing videos and people watch them, on average, right? Average is a spectrum between, nothing and 100%. 1.81 more people, 181% more people are likely to buy. Do you know why? Because they get to see you. They get to see you in a different context. They get to see dimensions of you. They get to see how you talk, how you interact. And those are points of relativity. okay? And clicks from shared content, 5 times more likely to result in a purchase. Why? What is the most powerful form of marketing on the planet? Word of mouth. Why is word of mouth so powerful? The reason word of mouth is so powerful is because it's coming from a trusted source. Now, guess what a share is? A share is a social media equivalent to word of mouth. A share is a social media equivalent of a referral, because every time you share something from someone, that by virtue of the share is an endorsement. It is a very public endorsement. Once upon a time when you referred someone in front of maybe 3 or 4 people at a dinner party, or maybe just one other person. Now when you refer to someone, on average you're referring them to 215 different people, okay, which I think is the average number of people on a Facebook profile. It's probably more like 600 now. But that gives you context. It's powerful. Now, every now and then I offer a free kick, and the free kick I want to offer you is, guess what type of content is 40 times more likely to get shared than any other form of content? Visual content. Visual content, 40 times more likely to result in a share than any other form of content. Why? Because it's more captivating. Photos, videos, infographics, quote cards. What's a quote card, Kerwin? Imagine a lion, big picture of a lion, go rah, and there's a big fucking quote that says, "You're a bloody lion, keep roaring." Something like that. An inspirational image paired with some inspirational language. Okay, and when we look at the state of social media globally, because a lot of people say, "Kerwin, which platform should I use?" Okay, well look, have a look at the numbers here. We've got 2.5 bill on Facebook, 2 on YouTube, 1 on Instagram, 675 mil on LinkedIn, TikTok, boom baby, 800 million, Snapchat 382, and Twitter 340. Take your pick. But here's what I'd suggest. I'd suggest do it smart. And the way you do it smart is by understanding where everyone is. And the average consumer maintains 7.6 different accounts, different platforms. So that's got to make you wonder, why would you be just on Instagram? Why would you be one-dimensional just on Instagram if you need 20 exposures to get to that point of influence, that point of familiarity, that point of contact? Why would you be one-dimensional on Instagram, hitting people just on one platform? Why would you not cross-pollinate a range of different platforms and cross-pollinate your audiences across all those platforms so that you can interact and integrate, okay, your messaging, your brand, your visual consumption in a way that gets you to those 20 exposures faster? Think about this, guys. This is the strategy. There's that much tactics out there. Any motherfucker can go and do a video and learn tactics on social, but it's understanding the strategy that determines how those tactics apply, okay, and what those results produce. Now, Instagram. Took me like 6 weeks to start making money off Instagram when I first got into it. And then in the first, I think in like 9-10 months, it was like 10 grand a month. And now I think this year we'll do about probably close to $2-3 million just off Instagram alone. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little bit more about Insta, but more importantly, how we make money from it and what we do. First of all, there's 1 billion monthly active users. 97% of all engagements are likes, so it is quite one-dimensional. Instagram photos generate about 36% more engagement, okay, likes, than videos. And that's, you've got to understand the origins. The origins of Instagram, it's a photographic platform, okay? Its origins are in photography, and as a result, it's still got that very core foundation and underpinning subculture there. And it's got the highest engagement per post of any social network, which is why it's very attractive from an influencer perspective. But you've also got to understand, although it's got the highest engagement per post of any social network, those influential metrics are now being pulled away. Okay, not now, they have been pulled away in many, I think pretty much everywhere around the world now when it comes to Instagram. You've got to understand, real influence isn't how many likes you get. Real influence isn't how many comments you get. Real influence comes down to how you're able to move people, how you're able to touch people, the level of relationship and what they think of, what's their top of mind thought when they think of you. Okay, that's real influence. And when you have cross multiple, okay, you lower your exposure, because if you're just on Instagram and they pull the likes, you're kind of fucked, right? So we've got to make sure that we are not, okay, one platform heavy. Instagram stories. 500 million active daily users. We've got over 50% of businesses on Instagram produced a story in the last month. So what, who cares? And this is where it gets really interesting. 1 in 5 organic stories from a business owner generated a direct message from a follower. Now, what is that? What is a direct message from a follower? Well, first of all, let's do a history of direct marketing. If we go back to old school strategic techniques where our number one goal is to either generate data, a lead, an inquiry, or to make a sale, okay, it's very clear what the goal of marketing was. It was to generate a lead, okay, or make a sale. And if we generate a lead, what is the goal of the lead? The goal of the lead is to use that data to remarket, to create a conversation that leads to ultimately the sale, which is the outcome. But what we've done traditionally in the past is we've marketed to get inquiries to be able to have conversations. That's how we get the conversation, by spending the money, okay, to get the leads and the inquiries, to then call them, speak to them, contact them, have them walk in so that we can actually sell. So the conversation is an incredibly important part. But what social media is doing is it's taking out the requirement for us to go straight to data. Write this down. Conversation is the new lead. conversation is the new lead, and community management will be one of the biggest areas of growth in all businesses in the social department moving forward from here. 1 in 5 organic stories, okay, is resulting in a direct message. That's a conversation. Okay, and if you do well at conversations and you ask them for their data, they're going to give it to you, and the probability of them giving you their data is going to increase astronomically at the same time. So when we amplify content on social, there's a few things we need to know. You've got to have a base of good content, but hashtags actually have an impact as well. And as you can see here, we've been monitoring this for quite some time now. We're constantly testing and measuring. The appropriate or the optimal number of hashtags that we're finding right now that are working is 4 or 5 hashtags. Now, please understand, we used to do the old school 30 hashtags. Okay, then we'd recycle them, put another 30 hashtags in, 45 minutes or 3 hours or 3 days later. We've gone through all that, okay? We now do 4 to 6 hashtags as we know the algorithm has evolved considerably with the use of AI learning. But also when it comes to amplifying the engagement, hashtags are amazing, okay, but also filters play an important role as well. And what a filter does, it's like when you swipe across and you put something black on there, black and white or gold or whatever the filter might be, they actually affect performance as well. Now, not remarkably, but it helps. And again, as I said, you need every freaking thing you can get your hands on to make sure that this thing pumps, right? And so what we can see by the representation in orange there is the most commonly used filter is no filter. But the filter associated with the highest level of engagement, as you can see, is actually Mayfair. So if you're ever in doubt when you post a photo, just use Mayfair. Now, there is a disclaimer. I've had people message me on Insta and say, Kerwin, I used Mayfair on my photo and it looked worse. So just in case it's not clear, if you put something on something and it looks worse, don't use it. Okay, common sense strategy number 1. Okay, I know sometimes it is confusing, but it's a fair question. So when we came to making money off Instagram, there's a few things that we did first. The first thing we did is we understood the platform. And the platform is really driven by hashtags, okay? It's very much a hashtag culture. So the first thing you need to do to make money is you need to go to Instagram and you need to search for 30 to 50 relevant and active hashtags. So we're looking for hashtags that are relevant to you, but they're active right now. But Kerwin, you only said we need 4 or 5. You do, but we're not going to use the same 4 or 5 every time. We're going to recycle them to get greater levels of reach and greater levels of touch across broader audiences with relevant terms, right? The second thing we want to do though, before we post, is we want to spend 5 minutes, maybe more, engaging on as many accounts as we can, ideally, that aren't following our account, that are using photos that have the hashtags that you're about to use. Now, the reason we do this is you want to create a whole flurry of activity across a whole range of accounts that don't follow you. And then the goal is, when they open their account, what are they going to do? They're going to see a whole bunch of notifications. And when they click on those notifications, they're going to do what you do. Oh, who liked my photo? Who commented on my photo? Oh, I don't know who this person is. Click on that, and then they're going to go and look at their account. And when they look at their account and they see, oh, wow, this person, they don't go, oh, this person's using the same hashtags as me. They go, oh, wow, this person's using the same photo style as me, the same relevance or same themes of the photos. They must be like me. I'm going to actually follow them. So if you like, first of all, people are going to go to your account, okay, create more activity, but it's also going to increase your follow count because by virtue of that, people are going to be exposed to you. Okay, and if you just like a whole bunch of photos, on average, you'll get about a 3%, maybe 3.5%, okay, follow back rate. If you like a whole bunch and maybe comment once or twice, it jumps up to like a 5% follow back. If you like a whole bunch, okay, comment and then follow, it jumps up almost in some cases to 8% or more. Okay, in some cases more. But you don't want to be one of those douchebags who goes and follows a whole bunch of people and then 2 weeks later unfollows everyone. Okay, that's again, sales and marketing, or what I'd call social douchery, okay, which you don't want to do because obviously Instagram knows when you do this and they're going to probably kick you off the platform or at least give you a ban. So we want to be spending 5 minutes engaging prior to publishing. Then when we do publish, we want to be putting 5 hashtags at the bottom of the post caption. We've tested everything, guys. Comments, more. You can still use more hashtags. 30 is still the maximum amount, but you don't need 30 hashtags anymore. The algorithm is far more intelligent now, okay? The learning is far deeper. And so we find it looks far less spammy, okay, if you've got 5 right down the bottom, not in the comments, and it's not something that your users have to necessarily engage with. And it doesn't look over the top. 30 hashtags, it looks like you're jamming them in there. It looks like crap. Now, once posted, don't edit for at least 48 hours. Why? Because if you change the context of the post, Instagram might think you're changing the messaging in the post and they're going to throttle that post down. And the Facebook do the same thing as well. So once it's posted, if you made a spelling mistake, don't worry, leave it there. Some grammar fucking Nazi's going to tell you and you get some free bonus engagement because the grammar Nazis just can't help themselves. Always count on a grammar Nazi to give you some good engagement if you make a spelling mistake. But then once you've posted, you want to make sure that you heart and reply to the comments as quickly as possible. Now, the reason you want to heart and reply to the comments as quickly as possible is you want to create a flurry of activity around that post early on, like what Gary Vee does. He has the 60-second club, which I think he's now changed to something else. Okay, and what he does is if you register for the 60-second club and he does a post on Instagram, if you comment in the first 60 seconds, they randomly pick someone at large and they send them free merchandise. And so as a result, whenever he drops a post, he gets a flurry of people commenting in the hope that they're going to actually win some merchandise. And as a result, he is blowing his accounts up, blowing his reach. Obviously, there's an enormous level of value there as well on top of that, which is what's underpinning and driving the strategy, but it's a brilliant engagement strategy. Now, how at this point do we make money, Kerwin? Because all we're talking about is fancy stuff. Here's how I made money. Because after about 6 weeks, I was probably like you are right now. Okay, this all sounds good, Kerwin, but where's the fucking money come in? And I'm like 6 weeks in or 5 weeks in, I'm like, man, how do I actually get people to actually give me some data so I can actually have some conversations beyond, just telling people, great photo. And so I realized that if someone commented on my feed on a photo, and it was Blue Eyes 99 goes, great quote, Kerwin, and I said on feed, thanks Blue Eyes 99, what do you do? Conversation. 99% of the time, Blue Eyes 99 would say nothing. But what I discovered, if I go to Blue Eyes' account and I send Blue Eyes a direct message saying exactly the same thing, the probability of a message back jumped up to like 95%. And so I'd go to Blue Eyes 99, hey, thanks for your quote, mate. Really appreciate it. Checked out your account. What do you do? And guess what Blue Eyes 99 loves to talk about? Guess what most people on Instagram like to talk about? What they do. So he came back, blah. And I was like, that sounds great, Blue Eyes 99. If you'd like some free content to do that better, hit me back with your first name, email address, mobile phone number, and I'll get some free content out to you. And that became my strategy. Okay, whenever someone commented, I'd go to their account and I'd send them that direct message, little cut and paste. And they'd send it back and say, oh, thank you so much. Or they'd send it back with the first name, email address, mobile phone number, and I'd take a screenshot. Screenshot, open up the whatever your communication channel is, Slack, Skype, whatever it is, drop it into the customer loving team and say, guys, can you please, could you put this into the database? And once you put it in the database, allocate it to a salesperson who's going to follow up. And when I say follow up, not follow up and crush them, follow up and have a conversation about where they're at, what their situation is, and then curate some more free content to send out to them. Okay, but also set 3 tasks to do in the next 7 days that we'll follow up on and make sure that they do. Not crunch them, actually fucking help them. Imagine that. And we went to $10,000 in sales literally within about 3 weeks of that point. And now when I first started doing this, it was very much an outbound strategy. Now I don't do any outbound direct messaging unless it's for influencers. Now, because at the time I had 119 people following me. Okay, now I've got like 125,000, 128,000 people following me, right? So now I don't need to do that. I'm getting messages coming in every day from stories, 1 in 5, right? And so now when I'm getting these messages coming in, I'm doing the same strategy, but I'm just not doing it outbound. And as a result, it is blown up exponentially. Really powerful. Really cool. Here's an incredible case study of Greg Wells. He's actually in construction and building.
Kerwin's given me so much time and space to think that now I'm like, all right, well, what do I do now? Which is quite a unique problem to have because I've 5x'd my net profit. I've been able to do it in 15 months and scale back. I was doing between 90 to 100 hours a week and now I'm doing between 40 and 50. I wasn't happy doing it before. I was stressed. Before it was 100 hours, like, not even having time to eat lunch. So I've 5x'd my net profit.
All right, Chris Gannon.
We're manufacturers of glass display doors for cold rooms. So any door that you grab milk or beer out of petrol stations, supermarkets. I come to Nissi looking for systems basically. And after the first session, called my wife. I said, oh, this is not what I thought it was. Pretty quickly worked out that a lot of the bottlenecks were around me, holding back and communication. In 7 months, our turnover's up significantly, but the profit is what has gone up massively. We've gone from about 100,000 to about 1.1 million. We have a good business, but I mean, we're only just really starting to scratch the surface of what we can do.
I want you to think about this. Imagine going from a net of 100,000 to a net of 1.1 million. That's life-changing stuff right there. Imagine having a business for 16 years and being told that's impossible. All right, and being told that that's just not possible in this industry. That's just not how it's done in this industry, and then being able to do that. Now, guys, what we're going to do, I understand there's a little bit of a kung fu movie going on. There's a slight delay in the feed right now. So we're literally going to pause the feed and restart it. Give us literally Alrighty, thank you, John Brands, for getting that up to speed. Hopefully my Kung Fu movie is now a little bit more Australian. Because honestly, I think my Australian's better than Bruce Lee's Kung Fu. All right, let's move into Snapchat. I know what you're thinking. Isn't that just for dick pics? No! But apparently 25% of people who do Snapchat do send pictures of their genitalia. Are you on Snapchat, Paul? Not at all. John, you on Snapchat? You're not on Snapchat. So these boys, they're not into Snapchat nor taking photos of small objects. So Snapchat's 186 million daily users. Let's have a little bit of a look at the breakdown here, guys. A lot of people think it's a kid's platform, a kid's app. As you can see here, like it is literally 83% of the representation of the demographics are 18 plus. One of the fastest growing demographics right now is actually, between 25 and 45. And in Australia, it's between 35 and 55. And when you consider, there's about 4 to 5% of these people that are actually over the age of 55. And I'm pretty sure grandpa's not sending grandma, inappropriate content. And this gives rise to the fact that there's still a lot of people on this platform. It's not necessarily the behemoth that everyone once thought it was going to be, but there's still hundreds of millions of people on this platform that are consuming content. So when you look at Snapchat, 382 million monthly active users, a little bit contradictory to the slide before, but this is the actual number. 2.1 million snaps sent every minute with 14 billion video views every single day, which is quite impressive when you consider Facebook only does about 8 to 9, as does YouTube. And these little platforms only got 382 million, not billions of people, and they're doing 14 billion video views. Snapchat's vertical videos have 9 times the completion rate compared to horizontal. What does that mean? It means if you film like this, you're fucked. No, it doesn't, but it kind of means a little bit like that. What this means is vertical content has become the mode of consumption in a mobile environment. And if you're filming content in landscape and people are consuming it on a mobile device, which is what stories are consumed on, you don't necessarily, in most cases, 99% of cases, you consume a story on a phone. And if you don't actually gear it to the method, to the device, 900% more people will swipe to the left. Why? Because of this. Oh, no, I'm not going to watch this. I'm just going to swipe to the left and keep on going. That's the reality. Don't get mad at me. You probably know yourself. I know myself. If I have to turn something sideways, it's like, oh, do I really want to watch this? How bad do I want to watch this? And all that represents is friction. But help me help you understand. If 900% more people are likely to swipe left and not watch a video that could be fucking amazing because they have to turn their phone sideways, what other things are you doing in your business right now that is creating a level of friction that is making people pop out before they even pop in? I like to use that as an example because that's a really small movement. But that level of friction alone creates 900% pop out, not pop in, which is really important for you guys to understand. Vertical video will take over, mark my words. Okay, now when we first got onto Snapchat, it took me 10 days. In my first 10 days, I made $11,000 in sales, but it wasn't until I think it was day 7 or 8. And I'll tell you how the whole shebang went down. I was like everybody else. When I first got onto Snapchat, I was like, far out, just not another platform. I'm already on all these other platforms. All right, I'll do it. But I was all capped on efficiency. So I was like, well, where else am I going to do it? I don't have a lot of time. I'm a busy man. I'll do it in the morning when I drive to work. It's a 40-minute drive. There's 18 sets of lights. I normally get stuck at 16 of them. I'll film a Snapchat video at every set of lights. A fucking genius, K-man. Thought it was until I looked at the stats and the reports and started to understand the culture of the platform. And what I was doing is I was making 2 of the biggest mistakes that you could probably make. I was basically blowing up frequency and recency because I had no idea what that meant. But I was blowing up the whole concept of front loading. And I'll explain what that means. What I was doing is I was basically putting in 160 seconds of video, sometimes more. And that's minutes of videos. And people don't go to Snapchat to watch minutes of videos because I'm looking at my stats weeks, in the days after, as I'm posting videos, I'm going, my first 3 videos are getting lots of views, but the rest of my videos are getting fuck all. What's going on? I just couldn't work it out. And then I realized, guess what determines whose story sits at the top? Who posted last? And so I was like, oh my God. First of all, not only I'm only appearing at the top of the feed for 45 minutes, and then for the rest of the day I'm being pushed down. But secondly, I'm creating minutes of content in that 45 minutes, and people don't go to Snapchat to watch a 3-minute video or a 2-minute video. They go to Snapchat to watch a 10, 20-second video. But I was pumping in there. They were coming for a snack, and I was giving them a main meal, and as a result, no one wanted to eat. And so I was like, right, how do I gear this? And so I went from posting 16 times in a 45-minute window in the morning to posting 8 times over the course of the day. Every hour, 1:15, phone would go off, ding, ding, and I'd just film something from behind the scenes, which I discovered is what people want. Because at first I was trying to do 3-minute videos on how to do something, how to educate them, give them the 5 things, but I realized, hang on, They're not engaging with that. They're engaging when I'm with my son or with my team or doing something cool and I'm showing them behind the scenes, which is what story content really was all about. Produced content can work well, but the real stuff, the real reality stuff is where it gets great. But then I'm like, okay, I'm now getting all these people consuming my content, but how do I actually generate data? How do I get these conversations moving in a meaningful direction? And I was driving to the airport in the back of a car, and I remember just going, oh, I've got 25 minutes. I might as well just do a Q&A. And so I picked up and said, hey guys, Kerwin Ray here, just sort of, of course it's Kerwin Ray. Hey guys, I'm just on the way to the airport. I've got 25 minutes. I'm going to do a Q&A. Hit me back. What are your biggest questions? I've got 20 minutes. Hit me back. 11 people hit me back in those 25 minutes. And I got back to all of those 11 people in the next hour or so. And every single one of them, they asked me a question, and I'd spend 10 to 20 seconds asking me a question. And my rule was 10-second responses, that's it. If I couldn't do it in 10 seconds, I wasn't going to do it. Truth be known, I did a couple in 20 seconds. But my goal was get it in 10 as quickly as possible. And I messaged these 11 people back, and with my 10-second response. And I was amazed. Every single one of them messaged me back. Some of them were crying, okay, but all of them were excited that I actually sent them a video. They're going, oh my God, I can't believe you sent me a video. And on top of that, you answered the question. Thank you so much. You're amazing. I really appreciate it. Really emotional. What more could you want from an audience member, from a brand interaction? And then I just hit them back and say, that's okay, anytime. If you'd like some free information, some free content to solve these problems faster, hit me back with your first name, email address, and mobile phone number. Now, when I started doing this on Instagram, my conversion rate when I was going out to people and I'm asking, getting the conversation going, then saying, would you like some content? 20%. When I stopped going outbound and people came inbound on Instagram, 80%. Snapchat from the beginning, 100% conversion to data. Why? You've got to understand the medium. It's so intimate. I'm sending people videos from me. Imagine if you sent an inquiry to Virgin and Richard Branson sent a video back answering the question. Who'd have a little bit of pee come out? I'm sure you'd be pretty excited. Okay, especially right now, you'd be super excited. But that's what happens when you have a meaningful brand interaction. People get excited. And 100% of them sent me back their data, screenshot everyone, sent it to customer loving, inputted the data, rotate it to the round robin of the sales team. They follow up and basically share more love, share more value. And as a result, we literally, from day 8 to day 10, in those 2 days, we did $11,000 in sales, just off the back of those 11 conversations. So it makes you think. And that's when you take the conversation off platform. And this entire strategy here, we do the exact same thing on Instagram. There's a crossover there. I'm sure you can see, you'd agree, and you can understand why. Because those platforms are obviously very similar considering how they both came to be. Here's another incredible case study from Jeremy Biggs, this time a startup. Check this out.
I've just had significant growth in all areas, everything from sales and marketing to social strategy to support. Accountability is a massive one as well. We, as a startup, had 0 revenue 3 months ago. This quarter, we exceeded our revenue target by 30 grand, and my projection for this financial year is 1.5 million. Having that joint venture partnership framework is probably the single biggest thing that has helped us succeed in where we are today. It almost feels like I've been working for a year, but it's only been 8-9 weeks in terms of the growth that we've had.
And now, Jeremy Biggs, imagine being a startup where on average it takes 7 to 10 years, and not only do you make $30,000 more in your first quarter or first month, but you're actually on track on the first year for 1.5. Not a common sight at all, but one we see on a regular basis. Okay, Facebook. The big daddy. I've got to say, Facebook is my favorite platform for a whole range of reasons. I'll tell you why. It has the most data available. It has the best advertising system available. It's where people, in most cases, will get into the most in-depth conversations, like in the threads. Instagram is quite a quiet platform in comparison on the conversation on the thread side. So I'm a big fan of Facebook for a whole range of reasons. Plus, we do this year, we'll do probably north of 20 million just off Facebook alone this year, which is pretty impressive considering it's just a little social media app with 2.5 billion monthly active users and 1.5 billion active every single day. But where it gets interesting with this platform is there's 60 million active small business pages. So not inactive, active. 60 million active, but only 6% pay for advertising. That's staggering. Because I remember back in the days of the Google AdWords, like the scenario was similar. When I first got into Google AdWords, early 2000s, no one else was on it. And so for all of my keywords and terms, I was bidding between 3 to 5 cents for all my keywords and terms, right? And my conversion cost to data, to lead, was about 30 to 60 cents all day long. And so I'd just sit there and farm AdWords because it was a money spinner, because no one else was on there. Corporates went on there because they thought paid was a fucking scam. They thought paid was a fad. It was going to come in and came out. They thought search was a fad. But then guess what happened? Search stuck, paid stuck, And then all of a sudden, the corporates started barreling in big bucks, massive dollars. And I remember just seeing every week my numbers just going up, and not in a good way. My bids went from, let's say, 3, 5, 7, 8 cents. Today, those same bids, 85 to 95 bucks. Those conversions, those 30 to 60 cent conversions all day long, were now $280 to $340 all day long, which is staggering. But why? Because all this corporate money has come in and it's jammed up the prices, and as a result, there's less competition and more dominance at a monopoly level. Now, we look at Facebook. There's $7.6 billion in TV advertising that is still spent in Australia on TV. In the US, there's $80.7 billion spent on TV advertising. And you've got to understand, guys, it doesn't fucking work. No one's watching it. I have done this survey all over the world to in excess of probably 150,000 people, where I ask a range of questions, and I get down to the number one question, which is who in this room actually watches live TV ads? And in rooms where I have 1,000 or 1,200 people, or rooms where I have 500 to 600 people, there'll be maybe 1, 2, at the most maybe 3 people that watch live TV advertising. Everything else is pre-recorded, DVR, Netflix. Okay, fast forward through the ads. When these people wake up, and corporates are stupid, but they ain't that stupid. And when they wake up, which they're doing right now, we've got 2 to 3 years to get our shit together. I'm going to say 18 months. Because Corona has just accelerated the shit out of everything, and the corporates have woken up. I am hearing whispers of massive amounts of money being pulled out of TVC, okay, being pulled out and pumped into digital and pumped into social. You literally have, I used to say 2 to 3 years, I'm now giving you an update. You've got 18 months, maybe 2 years at the outside to get your shit together, because if you don't have an audience, okay, in the next 18 months, you won't be able to afford to build one, okay, as a business, as a brand, because the corporates, once they come in and they drive those prices up, it will be impenetrable to get through. And the fact that we have this tool, this advertising tool that all of us can access right now that has so much data, by virtue of you downloading Messenger app, you give Facebook a plethora of information. I'm sure, and I've surveyed this, and again, 90% of the room, 95% of the room have had this happen, where you've had your phone nearby. You're having a conversation about a Jeep Cherokee, okay, or a particular cricket bat, okay, or a phone, and then you open up your Facebook, okay, and then sure enough, there's an ad there. Who's had that happen? Okay, the bulk majority of us have, okay, less now that the microscope is on, but it has, okay, and everyone's sitting there going, oh my God, it's the law of attraction. It's not the law of attraction, it's called data sampling, voice sampling. Now, you can get all pissed off and try and delete Messenger from your app or your phone. Well, fuck, that's not going to do much. The reason I'm okay with this to a degree is because it gives us incredible data to be able to market to. So we're not marketing to assumptions, we're not marketing to blind audiences, and as long as the data is used correctly, then that's quite powerful. Let me give you some concepts here. The US election was won by Facebook ads by swinging a voting group of just 75,000 people. Facebook ads won the US election by only targeting swing voters of 75,000 people. Let that fucking sit. So if someone can win the US election with literally Facebook ads, what can you do with your business if you know how to use it? So, 3 Facebook hacks you need to be aware of. Facebook native video or native content will receive 70% more reach and almost double the engagement of a shared YouTube or other link. Anytime you share a link that's going to take people off platform, it's going to get throttled, because Facebook, Instagram, platforms don't want them off platform, they want them on platform, okay? YouTube is a competitor. So if you've got a video, upload it natively to Facebook. Native means upload it to Facebook. Third party is I uploaded it to YouTube and then I posted the link on Facebook. Don't do that, you'll get throttled. Okay, the second thing is shares from your Facebook business page to your personal page can dramatically increase your reach. Why? It's engagement, and chances are you're going to get more engagement on your personal profile than you're on your business page, based on the algorithm and the dynamics, but also based on the fact that you know everyone, or a lot of people, or I hope, on your personal profile, and you can ask for their input. And if you post on your business page and then share to your personal page, and you get a flurry of activity on this personal page on that post, the algorithm's going to go, this post is actually better than we may have thought it was on the first post. Let's push it out a little bit more. Okay, so it helps dramatically in some cases, depending on how engaging your friends on your personal profile are and what you post. And 85% of people watch video in silence. This is a big one. 85% of people watch videos in silence. Do you know why? Because they're at work, and now they probably don't have to because everyone's at fucking home. But they're on the bus, they're beside you, okay, or you're beside them asleep and they don't want to wake you up. But 85% of content on Facebook gets watched in silence. And if you don't have captions on your video, you're seen but not heard, which is the ultimate fear of any business, is to be, oh, I've seen them, but what do? Okay, you want to be heard, and that's why captions are so important. And captions can be burned in, and there's a great tool that you can use, great resource you can use called rev.com, rev.com, $1 per minute. We use it all day long. Creates all the captions for us. You do need to double check them because sometimes it's not a native English speller or grammar person, Nazi, that's putting it all together. So you might want to check that out. Very valuable tool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to take you through and show you, literally walk you through what we do, okay, for a $20 million Facebook strategy and how we deploy it, what we do. This is literally going to show you befores and afters. Before, old school strategy, what we used to do, we used to promote directly to a special offer. Download my ebook, my cheat sheet, my special report, come to my event, buy my event, buy my webinar, come to my webinar. It was basically offer. We're offering value, but the bridge was you have to give me something first. Give me something, then I'll give you something. And it just was becoming worse and worse because it's in a social environment. I was turning up to people's birthday parties trying to sell them. It doesn't fucking work, guys. Okay, or it's declining. Maybe it works the first couple of times, but then after a while, it's not exciting, it's nuisance. When I was doing that, $24 to $40 cost per lead. It was just getting more and more and more. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm having AdWords PTSD flashbacks right now. This is going to be a train wreck. And that's when I started to explore. What is the mirror exposure effect? What are social dynamics? I started studying social psychology because that's what Zuckerberg did at university. I was like, oh fuck, if he studied social psychology and came up with Facebook, then maybe there's a few pointers in there. And that's where I came up with the mirror exposure effect. And that's what basically drives this entire strategy. So the new school is understanding that people need to be exposed multiple times to utility content. Not advertising content, utility. Informing, educating, inspiring, helping, solving problems, something utility in nature. So what we need to do is publish live video content first, but we want to find out what content works better than others. What's the better performing content? And when we find the better performing content, because we want to find the best, every 10 videos you'll notice one will perform better, or two, okay, then we amplify those videos that work well with Facebook ads. So Kerwin, you're telling me you want me to advertise a video that's got no call to action, no link to a website, it's just a video that helps people. Yeah, I absolutely fucking well do. Okay, because that's how this works. We help first, we serve first. Okay, and as a natural consequence, we do the things that naturally produce interest, that naturally produce sales, that naturally produce revenue. Okay, it's called the law of fair exchange. Okay, it works. And when you start to give and you start to amplify, those videos will start to take off. I've actually had videos that I've pushed up to over 1 million views with just a $100 budget because it was already a good video. Put $100 budget on it, put it into some good audiences, and that's mad when you think about it. So what you want to do is once you've amplified the video content with Facebook ads that's good, what you can do, Facebook has this incredible feature called retargeting where you can retarget people based on a behavior that they have on a piece of content. So if I watched a video for 3 seconds or the whole way, I can now be retargeted based on a choice. Do I want to retarget everyone who's watched just 3 seconds, 10%, 25%, 50% of the video, 75%, 95% of the video? And so I can choose who I retarget. Okay, so early stage, you might retarget anyone who's watched 3 seconds or more, and then the more volumes you get, you might want to get tighter and tighter. But the goal there is to expose and retarget people to the content 5 or more times. Might be 5, might be 7, might be 10, might be 20. 5 is a good number, okay, and I'll explain to you why. Because once we retarget them 5 times, they're a little bit more primed, okay? Then we retarget them with a special offer, which is the direct response. So direct response is not dead. We just got to use it more appropriately. It's like, it's like intimacy. You don't get intimate on the first date. You wait until it's actually appropriate. And so we retarget with the special magnet and the lead magnet, which is where we're offering something that's aligned with what they've seen, where we're asking for that data. Okay? And this is where it gets magic. I don't want to, get out of there. Oh, far out, I hate it that this does this. All right, I didn't want to tell you, didn't want you to see that, but you probably did. Don't go back. Stay with me. But to give you context, I may as well tell you now. We went from $24 to $40 cost per lead to down to $1.65 to $4.65 per lead. And let me show you more, because this is where it gets super interesting when you look at it. Okay, so this is what it looks like, first and foremost. Okay, is an audience funnel. Oh, that's really bad. All right, this is where you get to see the magic of television. All right, let's try a funnel, Kerwin. Small, big. There we go. Okay, so what we're building here in Facebook, inside of Facebook, is what I refer to as an audience funnel. Now, I've been building these, doing these for about 5 or 6 years now. So if you've seen this before, chances are it's come from me, because I was doing this before anyone else was doing. And I'm literally right now in the process, in the middle of putting you in the top 1% of Facebook advertising strategists all over the world. Okay, because this literally is the power package for social dynamics and social influence. So first of all, we need 5 videos. We need video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4, video 5. Okay, now each video is going to be different. So the first video that I do, this is how I do it, is I make sure this video is quite broad. But Kerwin, you're a business guy. Yes, I do have another high performance program called Power to Create that I'm bringing back later this year, which is super exciting, which is for everyone, the general public. But 90% of what I do from a commercial perspective is business. So why would you put a broad video, like a parenting video, or a personal development video, or a video on psychology, or mastery, or something that's got nothing to do with business? I'll tell you why, because I want as many people to see it as possible. I want as many people to share it as possible, because people who aren't in business who like it, they're going to share it. And guess what they have in their network? People who are in business. So my goal at the top here is to create as much reach as possible, which is what a lot of people don't do. They go straight to the specific. No, I go broad, because I want to tap the networks of the networks with good content. Because if someone's watched this, the whole video, and they're not in business, and then I retarget them with content that is now business content, guess what? They're not going to watch if they're not interested. But if they are, they will. And so what I'm doing now is I'm retargeting everyone who watched this video with video number 2. And everyone who watches this video with video number 3. And by everyone, it's either 3 seconds to 25% of the video, depending on the size of the audience. Okay, and video number 3, we retarget with video number 4. And video number 4, we then retarget with video number 5. So you might start with a group up here, okay, an ad set up here, where you're targeting an audience of 5,000 people. Okay, which might sound great, but when you get down here, the audience now might only be 250 people strong. And you might go, oh, that's very small. But no, it's not. Because this audience is now segmented. It's now qualified, it's also now warm, but we also now have it captured on Facebook as an audience that we can now retarget to. So these people, these 250 versus 5,000, they've been through the process. They've been exposed 5 or more times. Now is where we get, okay, funky, and we go, well, we've been out on 5 dates now, okay? Surely we can ask now, or we've met this person 5 times now, surely it's now an appropriate time to ask for their phone number. Okay, and so down here is where we drop in the call to action. And the call to action that you drop in, okay, the CTA, what we do with our clients at Nail It and Scale It, we do ebooks, okay, we do cheat sheets, special reports, guides, whatever, right? But our goal here, the reason we do that there, is our goal at this point is to convert to data. And so the data we're looking for is obviously first name, email, mobile phone number. And so now once we have the data, okay, we're not just able to target them on Facebook, we're now able to target them in their inbox, okay, and also on their phone, because we can SMS, okay? So we now have 2 other modalities that we can communicate through. But once we've taken them down this side, you've got to understand the purpose of this side. The purpose of this side down here, this is all about engagement. This is all about creating as much engagement as possible. So this side of the funnel is the engagement funnel. We're taking people down the engagement path, okay, the engagement rabbit hole. Once we've got them down here, we've now converted them to data. If we don't convert them to data, we just drop them back into another funnel. And then 5 pieces later, drop another call to action. And we keep doing that until we get the data. And what I learned is they might watch 5 videos before they drop the data. They might watch 50 videos before they drop the data. Or they might watch 500 videos before they drop the data. But ultimately, the people will drop the data if they're interested, and that's what we want. We know we may not get it straight away, but it might take a little bit of time. But what we now do is once we've got their email and their digits to be able to, essentially email, SMS, and even call them, our goal isn't to just call them cold. Our goal now is to take them from here and back on social media. We now want to keep nurturing them. So we now put them back into a different video funnel. Down here, this video funnel for us is around business, broad, and then we go business, and we prove our business expertise. Once we put someone into a nurture funnel, this is where you've already captured the data. Now you're trying to nurture them into the next step. You've already got the data, so you don't need the data, okay? You need something else. And what do you need? What's the next step? A good conversation. And so we nurture people through, and the final call to action, once we've taken them through the 5 sequences or the 5 videos in the nurture side, and this is where we do, we've got the nurture side over here. This is the nurture, and what are we trying to do? Nurture into what? A conversation, okay? But down here, our call to action is a one-on-one, a come install, a free assessment and quote, a free quote, strategies, whatever it is for you. You come up with whatever your thing is. And then it's just repeat, 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 repeat. And then all you're doing is adding new audiences, new audience over here. Okay, throw in a new audience over here. Oh, let's throw in a new audience over here. And then what you end up with is all these little audience segments in your Facebook ad accounts of all these different audiences that you can target for a whole range of different things. I need you to understand this literally is the most powerful dynamic in social marketing influence, because it's tapping into the psychology of how we operate, not a tactical, commercial, corporate feeling experience. This happens naturally. But what I want you to know is, I know every single one of you can look at this and go, fuck, that's amazing, but how do you do it? And as I said to you guys today, like, this is really about show, okay? Show and tell. NISI is where we actually do the work, where we actually execute and do everything. Now, this is an incredibly powerful model, and that's why at Nail It and Scale It, we actually get you to complete this in the room, okay? Or if we were to do a digital event, we would get you to complete it at the digital event. We actually walk you through the process. To give you context, at Nail It and Scale It, this is what we teach you at the event. We actually teach you my content process, and we actually get you to write the script for 5 videos, okay? Film 5 videos, and produce an ebook. And we do that all on the first day, okay? And we learn a whole bunch of other stuff at the same time. So we literally film 5 videos, okay? We create the script for 5 videos. By virtue of that script, it becomes 5 articles for your website, for your blog. We produce an ebook and a web page that the ebook sits on. And then we take all those videos and then we then put them into your Facebook ad funnel. We build this at Nail It and Scale It with you, okay? By you, and we answer all the questions as you go through. Because look, the reality is some of you might be able to work this out on your own, because that's the strategy. The tactics take me a little bit more to explain, more time than what we've got right now. And look, the reality is you could work it out on your own, and if you can, fucking do it. But my advice is, if you know that you're someone that needs to be shown, if you know that you're someone that you need someone to walk you through and answer questions and hold your hand, then maybe you need to think about the possibility of getting some support and some training, okay? Something like Nail It and Scale It, or just something that can help you do this. But as I said, in Nail It and Scale It, we build this purpose fit for what it is that we do. And it's an incredibly powerful concept. And again, let me go even one step further. 1 cent view, so 0, 1 cent view, 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 $1.65 to $4.65. Just gives you context. Versus $40 or $42 per lead. Like, it's a totally different ballgame. So you're now in the top 1% of Facebook advertising strategists. My question to you is, what are you going to do with it? And what are you going to do with the information? Okay, so Jason Shea Witten, I think you're going to enjoy this one. Check it out.
Seeing Kerwin's content was amazing, and seeing what he was achieving in the world of Facebook and that sort of stuff was really quite awesome. So we feel like we missed that in our marketing. So we're like, we need to catch up.
He actually came back from Fast Growth Summit with the VIP tools, gave them to the team, and actually sat and read them all. And they started executing on what Kerwin had given away. And that was enough to get the whole team started. And some of our Facebook costs, when we looked at them, they were like $260 a lead. Like, it was mental.
We've got our lead from like $250, $260 down to $3 now. Literally, we've doubled our sales in the last 12 months. So 100% increase in the front end volume, the sales of the business. We took our events from 7 or 8 events now to 25 events per month, and getting the numbers we need in those events 95% of the time. And now we can see the revenue is booked up in the next 2 to 4 years.
Who wouldn't mind having 2 to 4 years of revenue booked up in advance? Look, one of the things you're probably seeing at this point, guys, is the diversity of the industries that I've worked in. I've worked in over 150, 60 different industries, 11 countries around the world. I don't work in any particular vertical. I work in all verticals because I'm a multi-purpose tool. And so please understand, whatever business you're in right now, if you're wondering if it applies, I can almost guarantee that we've worked with someone probably in your industry, if not someone in your field. This one's interesting. I'm going to show you a case study now from a guy called Scotty Lewis. When Scotty first came to me, he was, first thing I thought is, wow, this guy's almost maybe more ADHD than me. And the second thing I thought is, man, this guy's got an abundance of energy. If I could just direct it in the right way, okay, this guy's going to absolutely take off. He was turning over $150,000 in his backyard gym at the time. Check out this story. It's pretty cool.
We were turning over maybe 150 grand, like that was turnover. We're at one gym at that point in time, no systems, no fundamentals, no consistency, but then being able to attach and implement a really simple planning system. It took the fuel that we had and it created a rocket for it to just explode. Only recently we cracked the 10 million in revenue, and now we've just launched our 24th franchise. The opportunity to apply any of these principles to create any of those outcomes is available. Absolutely love the simplicity of it.
And Scott has obviously gone on to doing some incredible things, and that's super impressive. And they're pivoting super hard at the moment, doing an incredible job. But yeah, I like to use his example, his case study, because there's a lot of people out there right now that might be either in startup mode or you're turning over 150 grand and going, man, how nice would it be? And yeah, we've done this a few times. So look, guys, the bigger picture is this. At the end of the day, you've got to understand social media alone isn't going to save you. It's just one ingredient. And this is where now we kind of get to the pointy end of the conversation where I can really start showing you more about what it is that I do. And I want to share this conversation with you because I had, back in February of 2018, I think it was, I had a guy come to my event in Sydney. And he basically came to the event. I didn't even know he was there. Anyway, November of that year, he came back to this exact event, the very event that you've just sat through right now. And I should point out, we have had literally dozens and dozens of people who have made, in some cases, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of dollars just from the information you've heard so far. Okay, so don't sit there and question, does this information work? I know it works because I fucking use it every single day. But also, when we give this information to people with just this, without even NISI, and they use it, things blow up. And so I know the information works. Okay, so what I want to do is I want you to understand that if you don't pair this with the right strategy, it could actually blow up in your face. And I'll tell you why, because this story will highlight it. This guy came in February, came again in November, waited around to the very end of the event in November, came up to you, goes, hey, Kerwin, I just wanted to come up to you and say thank you, but also apologize. And I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. I'll listen. And he goes, mate, I came to this event back in February. You probably don't know because I left as soon as you started to do your sales pitch, or I left at the end of the night, whatever it was. And he goes, the whole way home, I was riding you off to my wife in the car, and she's sitting there nodding, and I was calling you a wanker and a fuckwit and all these names. And I was like, oh, that's a bit rough. Why? He goes, because you gave us everything. He goes, and I was being really, my ego was in full force, he said. He goes, I was being really cruel to you because I was making fun of you because you'd given us so much value that I said to my wife, we don't need him anymore. What an idiot. He gave us so much. We don't need him anymore. He sold himself out of a client because he gave us everything. And so he went back and he applied everything that you've learned just now in his construction business. And they brought in an extra $3.9 million in revenue in the next 3 months. Boom. Absolute boom. But they didn't know how to scale. And see, what you've got to understand, the reason I'm really good at what I do is I don't just focus on ingredients in isolation. I don't just sit there and look at a bag of flour and go, make a pizza, make a pizza, make a pizza. Like, I'm able to combine ingredients in a way where I can produce incredible fucking pizzas. I wish I could. I do love pizzas. But you get my point. Social media is one ingredient, and scaling has nothing to do with social media. Social media will drive the ability to scale. But if your social blows up and you don't have the infrastructure, the planning, okay, the systems to grow with that increase, like a $3.9 million increase, your business will fucking blow up. And so what this guy said, he says, Kerwin, I want to say thank you. We made an extra 3.9 million, which was great. And he's got tears streaming down his eyes. I'm like, okay, something's coming here. I could feel it. And he goes, but this is why I want to apologize. He goes, because I think tomorrow, he said, I'll be going in and signing the papers where we'll be bankrupting the company or winding up the company. And 7 directors, all family members, 25-year-old business, will be going bankrupt. And he goes, but I just wanted you to know that I've learnt my lesson. I just want you to know I got it. I got my lesson. Because my wife in the car at the time was saying, yeah, but you might know how to do social, but remember what he said about scale? He's like, fucking scale. Once we've got money, we'll work it out. And he goes, mate, I didn't work it out. He says, because once we got that 3.9 in new business, he said all of the team all of a sudden were more under the pump than they already were. We lost 3 of our top foremen, and they took most of the guys with them. And we were fucked. And the social media that built us turned against us because all our clients went to social media to Google reviews and to Facebook and everything else. And it blows up. And so this is where you've got to understand, guys. Social media is great, but I've seen this happen dozens of times where you apply a good strategy and things blow up and the business just crumbles. Social media, what I've shown you, if you do it, you'll get a ton more leads. But my question is, can you sell those leads? Okay, because if you're really good at sales or you're really good at marketing, that's not business. Being good at business is essentially being really good at 5 things. And these are the 5 things that I've identified that you have to be really good at. And it's such an important part of my method and my methodology. This is what I basically live my life by, okay, in my personal life as well as in my professional life. But please understand, what I'm about to show you now is 20 years of research and development. Hundreds of, well in excess of $100 million of revenue generated over the, no, it's well in excess of that now, probably in the excesses with us. And I'm going to say billions of dollars in the last 20 years have been produced as a result of what I'm about to show you right now. So my advice is listen like something really important depends on it, because this is actually what I cover in my trainings at Nail It and Scale It. This is what I do when I work with people. This is my methodology. And the first thing that we do when we work with people is we do a disproportionate amount of work on your psychology. Why? Because if I give two people the same piece of information, one can go and make tens of millions of dollars and the other one will fuck it up every way to Friday. And I ask myself the question a number of times, why? And it always comes down to the blueprint. It always comes down to the perspective that is owning the information you give them. And so what I realize is if you don't do the work on your head, it doesn't matter what you give people, they'll find 50 ways to fuck it up. And so as a result, I do a disproportionate amount of work on you, on your brain, on your body, on your healing, okay? Looking into the things that are preventing you from performing at the highest level. Because if I can't solve what's going on for you that's preventing performance, it doesn't matter what I give you, you'll just find a better way to fuck it up than anyone else in some cases. I'm going to work with you and we're going to unravel what's going on in your head and we're going to put it back together. But more importantly, we're going to switch on the lights of consciousness. Okay, we're going to turn on a bulb that is going to enable you to be a little bit more objective in the perspectives that you're holding on to that are driving your life right now. Because there are a lot of perspectives that are driving your life right now that aren't very helpful. And until you become conscious that you're holding them and the impact that they're having, you're probably not going to change them. So we are literally, I said at the beginning of this, I'm really good at three things. I'm really good as a dad. I'm really good at growing businesses quickly. And there's a third thing I'm really good at. Better than those two things combined, 10x. I'm really good at working with people's minds, their hearts, their spirit in the context of commercialization and performance. It's my jam. Like it literally was why I was put on this earth, is to work with people and help them get the best out of them. Okay, and one of the things that I do in Nail It and Scale It, apart from taking through all of my psychological framework, all of my healing frameworks and modalities, is I actually equip you with regulation abilities that you should have been given as a child that no one was given in most cases. You know, I've got the great fortune, I've been able to, through my networks, be able to train with the Navy SEALs. I spent 2 weeks with the Navy SEALs in San Diego doing just weapons training. You know, I spent 2 weeks in Ukraine doing just weapons training with the European Special Forces over there. You know, I've got over 200 skydives under my belt. I'm an extreme adventurist. I'm an extreme sportsman. I'm just an extreme fucking personality. I like to do things that scare the shit out of everyone and do it with a smile on my face with sub 80 beats heart, right? When I used to skydive with a heart rate monitor on so I could practice meditating in free fall. I'm a bit weird like that. But what you've got to understand is I've taken all these experiences, working with military, working with elite business, working with elite professional sports people, and I've put together a methodology that enables people to be able to regulate stress to perform at very high levels. Because the biggest thing that prevents people from performing at a high level is stress. And let's explore that. Why does stress prevent people performing at a high level? Because, number one, when you experience a stressful stimulus, you have a whole range of biochemical responses. And one of them is you have a cortisol that is released. And within 7 minutes of you producing cortisol, you lose half of your IQ. Let's battle test this. When was the last time you were stressed? Have you ever done anything stupid whilst under the influence of stress? Of course you have. Because you're dealing with half an IQ. But what do we know about business? It's fucking stressful all the time, not just now and then. And if you're constantly under stress, you've constantly got half of an IQ that you're running your business with, that is going to fuck you faster than anything in your entire life. But that's why most businesses fail, because they're trying to operate through a veil, a very vague veil of fog and stress. And so what I've done by working with military and everything else is I've created a framework that I now teach back to military ops, special ops, okay, to be able to regulate. Because I was fascinated. Why was it? I was watching video footage of special forces teams deploying in Afghanistan in a vicious firefight. But all these guys, these special ops guys, they all had these biosuits on, and they're all in, you know, they're in tactical, they're returning fire, they're taking fire, they're pulling wounded in. They're a quick action response team. So they come in to basically pull some Marines out. And I'm watching these biosuits, and I'm noticing that all of these guys are sub 90 and sub 80 beats per minute because it's measuring all their vitals. It's got, you know, body cam, gun cam, incredible to watch. And I was just noticing how cool the SEALs were versus the Marines. How calm, how deliberate they move versus everyone else, because they had this level of clarity that was derived from composure that enabled them to make, you know, life or death decisions very quickly, very clearly, without the fog of stress and fatigue and decision fatigue. This one thing is worth the entire price of entry, just based on what I can do, because this is where we change the lives. This is where we change the families. This is where we change everything. And this is where naturally, as a result of this change, your business changes as well. Which moves us into the second phase of what we do. The second thing that we do in Nail It and Scale It, the second thing I do when I work with a client, is I get them very clear on what the plan is. You don't grow without a plan, and if you do, it's a fucking accident, okay? And accidents become even bigger accidents if not managed well. And so what we do is we actually teach you a planning process that has military origins, okay, that has commercial applications, but it is so potent. It is literally one of the most important things responsible for our client success. On average, it increases productivity by between 200 and 600%. I want you to think about that. That is a significant uplift in performance, 200 to 600%. Now, let's say we can balance in the middle. Let's say we can get you to around a 400% increase in productivity. That's output. 1 day's worth of work now becomes 4 days worth of output. 1 week's worth of work now becomes 4 weeks worth of output. 3 months worth of work now becomes a year worth of output. A year of work now becomes 4 years of output. How is it that most of the majority of people take 7 to 10 years to build $1 million business, yet you and I both know, because I have done it multiple times, that people can do it in sub 12 months? It's got nothing to do with anything other than your ability to know what to work on. Okay, and if you don't know what to work on, if you don't know what to execute on, chances are you're executing on the things that don't fucking matter at all, or the ones that are making the most noise. I want to help you delineate, identify, and prioritize the things that you need to be doing. Because the reality is, if you're not growing rapidly, okay, and quickly, and if you're not able to manage the situation right now, first thing I say to anyone, if there's a level of chaos, show me your plan. And I'm not talking about building a 23-page business plan. I'm talking about like a 1 to 3 page document. Okay, we've got 80 people, almost 80 people in our organization. Okay, and our plan, A4, fits over about 4 or 5 documents. Okay, every department fits on 1 document. Okay, it's not a big, robust, oh, this is what I'm going to do plan. It's basically bullet points. Here are the priorities. Here's what's being done. And then what we do is we break down on a 10 years, down to 1 year, down to 3 months, down to 1 month, down to 1 week, down to 1 day. It ensures every single day you're doing something that's going to have a tactical strategic advantage 10 years from now. Because most people are doing what they need to do to get to the end of the day. Okay, I want to show you how to do what you need to do to get to the end of the day, but make sure that you're more profitable the next day. And especially more valuable and more profitable 10 years from now. But that doesn't just happen, okay? That happens as a result of planning. And I've done this for 20 years, guys. If you don't have a solid tactical plan that has strategic derivatives in it, you're going to fail. You're going to fail. And you've got to make sure it's connected to something bigger than just making money, because that's where most people fuck it up. Okay, number 3 is marketing. You don't need 52 ways to market your business, you need 3. The first thing I'm going to show you guys is I'm going to show you exactly what I've shown you here. Not only are we going to get you to create videos, I'm going to give you my content creation formula. Because I know that chances are you're really fucking good at what you do. Chances are you know a lot about what you do, but chances are you're really shit at articulating it on video in a concise way that makes people want to listen to you. Because that's what most people tell me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the frameworks to produce content. And all you have to do is answer the questions, and then you've got an article. Okay, then you've got an ebook, and then you've got a script for a video. I'm going to give you my content creation framework so that you'll be able to produce content on demand. But the best part is we're going to be producing content in the room. We're going to be producing content at the actual event. Whether it be the live event or the maybe digital event that is coming, we're going to be creating 5 videos in the room. We're going to be creating 5 articles in the room. We're going to be creating an ebook. We're going to be creating the structure. The first thing you need to know how to do, there's only 3 marketing strategies you need to know. Number 1, content marketing. We're going to show you the content machine, the pillar strategy. The second thing you need from a marketing perspective is you need to know how to use Facebook ads. Why? It's the most powerful advertising platform on the planet right now. And if you don't have your fucking head around it, you've got 18 months to get your shit together before it's going to become mostly useless for you other than a time vacuum. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take you through the process of learning how to do Facebook ads. But more importantly, we're going to build that shit during the event. Build that shit there, live. Answer the questions as we go. Why? Because I know that's what you're going to need. And the third strategy you need to market your business is joint ventures. Joint ventures and strategic alliances. And that is essentially when you identify non-competing businesses who share the same audience as you. And you come up with mutually beneficial scenarios where you can mutually promote each other, mutually sell each other's products and services, and just take profit share. Or cooperative marketing strategies. Every business that I've blown up to over $1 million in the first 12 months, every single one of them, I've done it off the back of JVs, in most cases with a 0 advertising spend. Okay, yes, content doesn't actually cost any money. Facebook ads actually cost a little bit of money, but joint ventures don't. And they are freaking potent. And as I said, I've launched multiple businesses from 0 to millions of dollars, in most cases in less than 12 months, off the back of JVs, in most cases with 0 ad spend. 3 marketing strategies, not 52. Content marketing, Facebook ads, joint ventures. You're done. Any more than that, guys, is a distraction. I can take you easily to 100 mil if the scope is there, if the market is there, just off the back of those 3 things and a slight extrapolation. And on top of that, you've got to understand the connection between your marketing and your sales processes. The reason that we thrive so well is we're not in the business of trying to convince people to do things they don't want to do. What do I mean by that? That's what a sales process is for most people. It's how do I convince people to do what they want them to do? No, sales is not about how do you convince someone to do what you want them to do. It's how do you show someone what they need to do based on their situation in a way that is compelling and motivating, that creates a level of demand that makes sales really easy. I don't work hard for sales because I do all the work up front. I give all the credibility, all the utility up front. So when people come to me or my organization, they're not sitting there in most cases going, oh, can he help me? I've shown so much fucking evidence, okay, that it's obvious I can help you. The question is can you be helped? Okay, because here's what I've learned. I can help fucking anyone, but I can only help, here's what I've learned. I can help anyone, but the people that I can only help out of everyone are the ones that actually want the help. Okay, and when it comes to sales, that's what I'm looking for. And the reason our sales process is so powerful is because it works in a cold environment. If you've got someone coming in cold, but it works beautifully if they're coming in off the back of social media, and it just makes it effortless to when it comes to sell. Imagine a sales process whereby the close, the client was actually closing you. Imagine you finished a presentation whereby I don't give you a script, I give you a framework. Okay, a framework and 3 to 4 questions. And at the end of those, the only way someone can get to the end is if they're ready to buy. And if they don't get to the end, you save your time. You win either way. But the final question is, once I give you the process, there's just one question that you drop in at the end, which is, what is it that you bring to the table, Paul, that would make me want to work with you? The reality is, I don't work with everyone. The reason I get the success that I do, guys, this is the reality. The reason I get the success that I do is I don't work with everybody. I only work with those that I know I can help. And so this isn't a tactic, okay, a psych ops marketing tactic. This is our reality. And so as a result, when we back up the reality and the experience that the clients have, there's a much greater respect, much greater credibility, and as a result, much greater demand. I am going to blow up your sales strategy with something that's so moral, so ethical, so powerful, okay, that you could literally teach it, as we've had our clients do, to their 15 and 16-year-old kids and turn them into powerhouse salespeople. It's that powerful, okay? It's almost like the McDonald's sales process for anyone, and it's human, it's real, it's powerful because it's based on actual truth and evidence, not based on assumptions and high pressure tactics and coercive influence. And the last but not least, guys, you need to know how to scale. And scale is a two-way street, scale up, scale down. Some businesses are really good at scaling up, but like now, when they have to scale back, they fucking aren't ready for it. And to me, it's like a xylophone. You want to be able to go out, but you also want to be able to contract when required if there's any sort of turmoil. And that's why our clients, like our K2 elites, we've got almost 450 of our K2 elites right now. These are our high-end clients that we work with on an ongoing basis. And out of those about 450, we've had 7 clients so far that are in trouble, okay, that we're supporting through this process. Now, out of 450, I'm sure that's pretty good, but there's a reason for this. Because we've actually given our clients not only the ability to prepare, they were prepared well in advance, but they've also learned how to scale their businesses back, not just scale their businesses up in situations where there's a little bit of turmoil. So number 5 is about leadership, okay? I call it scale, but that's what's required. Because a lot of people say, I ask people, a lot of people, what is the biggest thing you want from your business outside of money? And oftentimes they'll say freedom. And I say, well, what prevents you from doing that? I go, well, I'm in the business, I'm in there all the time. So I want you to write this down. If this is your scenario, because I often say to people, well, who got into business because you want to have more freedom? Did you get into business because you want to have more freedom? How the fuck is that working out for you? Okay, probably not so good. So why I want you to write this down? Scale equals freedom. If you don't know how to scale, you'll never be free. You'll always be the point man. You'll always be the person who's at risk. You'll always be the person at the cold face. Okay, one of the things you'll see in our case studies is the amount of people that get off the tools from 100 hours a week to 40 hours a week to 20 hours a week to 10 hours a week. I want to show you how to put your operation under management if that's what you want. I want to show you how to get your life back. In order to get your life back, you've got to become a better leader. And becoming a better leader goes straight back to point number 1. We've got to get in here. We've got to get you operating more effectively as a communicator. You understanding, we're going to take you through the process of how do you recruit, how do you identify talent, how do you motivate talent, what structures, systems, processes, automation is required to scale. We're going to cover all of that, guys, and more. Because the reality is, if you want your life back, you've got to get more people. You've got to get leverage. And if you don't have leverage, it's going to be all you. And I'd much rather you have 10 people that are 70% as good as you, able to do 10 times more work, than one of you that is 100% as good as you, who can only do one person's work. Think of it this way, guys. You've got to let go in order to have more. You've got to be willing to surrender, okay? And surrendering isn't about giving up, okay? It's about letting go. And sometimes the best way to lead is by letting go. And that's what leadership is really all about. How do we develop people within our network so that we have competent, very self-managed, self-initiated, self-led individuals that can take on the responsibilities that you're going to be giving to them from there. So look, nail it and scale it. Here's where we get to announce the cool stuff. I am super pumped to announce for the first time in the history of my business, we are going to be doing a digital broadcast. And it's actually going to be a live digital broadcast, guys. We've never done this before. I know we've got people in Germany and Hong Kong and everything all completely lit up. Now, a few things first. We already launched the digital broadcast announcement. We did that about a week and a half ago. We went out to just our small audience and our clients and on our email list. And we already had, in the first 3 days, we had 1,100 people sign up for the digital event that we've got coming up on May 6, 7, and 8. Now, I'll tell you right now, I did not expect 1,100 people to sign up in the first 3 days, but they did. We have reached the capacity of what we're able to do, but what we have decided to do is we've decided to open up 50 more tickets, okay? Because the reality is this is the first time that we've done this. We did not want to go over 1,100 participants in this. And the only reason that we are doing this is because we had already scheduled to do this in our calendar. And so we decided, what the heck, let's go through. This can be a test, but we're only going to be offering 50 tickets for you guys all over the world. So wherever you are in the world, okay, you're going to have the opportunity to get a seat wherever you are. But I also want to point out, we also have another live event, in-room live event, physical with me in the room, coming up August 24, 25, 26. And that event is almost completely sold out. Okay, we've got about 100 tickets left for that event. So we really have two events available. We've got the digital broadcast, which anyone can get access to anywhere in the world. 6, 7, 8 of May, but as I said, we've only got 50 tickets left for that. And the reality is I didn't want to sell any more because I want us to be able to manage the ones that we've got. Okay, so for those of you who are keen, get in now. I'll show you what to do in a minute. If you are keen, you need to get in your head now, or get out of your head now. Get ready for what's about to come because as I said, those 50 tickets are going to fly off the shelves really quickly and you can't just buy them. Okay, there's going to be a process where I'll explain. The live event is 24, 25, 26 of August. That's a physical event with me, okay, in the room, being able to touch me, you know, get photos and everything else. We've only got 100 tickets for that left. But some of you are probably thinking at this point, I'd really love to go, but I don't know, K-Man. Look, here's what I know. Whenever something important pops up, so do our excuses. Whenever something pivotal pops up, so does self-sabotage. And self-sabotage is that mechanism that you keep using to fuck yourself up every time you get close to having a big win. So I want you to be acutely aware of what's coming for you right now, because if you're sitting there making some kind of a bullshit excuse and you know you need the help, you need to slow down a second and have a little bit of listen to what's going on. Because I already know what your top 3 biggest, I'd love to, buts are going to be. I'd love to do this, Kerwin, but I don't have the time. You've got fucking plenty. Okay, if you don't have the time, if you don't have 3 days to take out of your life to learn how to do this better at a higher level, more functional, more effectively, more, at a much greater level of effectiveness, you're already screwed. And it wasn't because of Corona, it's because your mind is limited. I highly encourage anyone right now who's sitting there and they honestly believe I don't have the time to shut your business down, okay, and try and get some kind of employment elsewhere. Because chances are you'll do everyone a favor so they don't have to listen to you piss and moan. We already know how fucking hard business is, okay? The offer is going to be here. The offer is here for your support. But if you use time as an excuse, you're already fucked and I can't help you. Okay? There's pre-fucked, there's fucked, and there's post-fucked. And if you're, I don't have the time, you're post-fucked. Pre-fucked is maybe I don't have the time. You're not convinced yet, okay? You haven't quite fucked yourself yet. You have the time, it's just not a priority. And if it is a priority, you need to make it even more of a priority. Kerwin, I'd love to do this, but I don't have the money. And for some of you, that's a fair point right now. For some of you, there is some economic challenge. I get that. And I don't want to take money off anyone who doesn't have the money to spend. But I do know that there are people out there right now that desperately need to invest in order to not just save their businesses, but also pivot and innovate their businesses in order to be able to move them forward and keep their family safe and secure. Here's what I know about money, guys. Okay, when it comes to business, business is a hyper-leveraged investment vehicle. What does that mean? It means zeros in, zeros out. If you're investing $0 into your business, chances are that's exactly what the returns will look like. Okay, and if you're investing thousands of dollars into your business when it comes to development, you'll be getting thousands of dollars in return. Tens of, hundreds of, millions of, pro rata. Okay, I spend millions of dollars in training and development every single year in my organization for myself and my team. Okay, in order to grow, in order to be strong. Because what I know is if I want a return from something, I have to be willing to invest in it. And businesses is the only vehicle in the history of wealth creation, the history of all assets, that's got a hyper-leveraged value proposition. What does that mean? If I buy a property, okay, and I spend 50 grand on that property, I might be able to buy it for 500, spend 50 grand on it, okay, so 550, plus legals and everything else, 700, or 600, okay, renovation, and then go and sell it for 800. Okay, I make myself a tidy $800,000, sorry, a tidy $100,000 profit off that $800,000 sale after the reno, right? Who determined the value of that? Was it me? No, it was the market. The market determines the value of that asset, okay? Whereas in business, the market doesn't always determine the value. What determines the value in business is cash flow. And I could buy a business, literally, I can buy a business for $100,000. I can invest $50,000, okay? Or let me give you a better example. I could buy a business for $500,000, okay? I could invest $50,000 to $100,000 in renovations, renovating the mindset of the managers, renovating the planning systems, renovating the marketing, renovating the sales, and renovating the leadership with that organisation. And here's what I know. 12 months later, 18 months later, I'll probably be able to sell that, depending on what that business industry was, for about anywhere between 1.5 and $2 million. Why? Because what determines the value of the business isn't the market, it's the ability to increase cash flow. And what I know is I can increase cash flow exponentially inside a business, in most cases without adding too much more costs, when you know how to do it. Sometimes you do have to add additional costs, but by virtue of those costs, by virtue of that investment in those costs, it's not a cost, it's an investment, and produce a higher rate of return. So here's what I know. If you're not investing, you're not really earning at your full potential. But the last one that I want you to sit with is, why do this now? Now, I don't think I need to point to COVID in order to say why you need to do this now. The reality is, if most of you, do not get your shit together, we are only at the beginning of this, guys. We are at the beginning, all over the world, unprecedented. We don't know what's happening next, but what we do know is if we do nothing, okay, we're going to get steamrolled by whatever's coming next. We need to be on point. We need to be ready. We need to be agile as fuck, guys, for what's about to come. But most importantly, we need to be aware of what our own potential is. I don't know if you ever think about this, but I think about this all the time. All the time I'm thinking, because I've had 7 near-death experiences now, so you do reflect a lot more on life. And what I think is, gosh, how cool is it that this moment is the sum total of my entire existence? I want you to think about this right now. Like, this moment, right now in your life, is the tip of the spear. It's the sum total of your entire existence in this moment right now, and you're watching a webcast. And you're like, just chill out, man. It's just a webcast. It's just Wednesday or Tuesday or wherever you are in the world. No, man, I'm not going to chill out. Because here's what I know. I know every single one of you right now, you know in your heart that you have more potential. You know in your spirit that you have more inside you, but you just don't know how to access it. Okay, that's my responsibility. Let me be your coach. Give me 3 days to coach the fucking shit out of you and take you to the level that you know you can do, but no one's shown you how to access that yet. That's my genius. My genius is getting the best out of you. And if you want to find out what that is, then you're going to get an opportunity to be able to work with me and find out what that's for and how. So who this is for. Guys, I'll make this really clear. We work with established businesses, we work with startups, we work with people who've got an idea but they don't know how to launch it. We also work with multi-level marketing businesses. Guys, I've been doing this for 20 years. Whether you've got 1 employee or 1,000 employees, whether you're turning over $1 or 100 million. Okay, I've worked across the gambit. Franchises, international, global, local, you name it. Okay, 160 odd, 70 odd different industries, 7 countries around the world. I get it. All right, regardless of where you are, I can help you. But what you're actually going to get inside the program is you get this. We cover those 5 key areas. We're executing in all of those 5 key areas. You get a 3-day digital and or live conference. Yeah, you know where this is going, guys. You also get live implementation with support. So we're actually going to have live coaches on the digital. We also have about 100 live coaches in the room, 150 live coaches in the room. Now, by the way, all of our coaches, all of our support comes from successful business owners. I don't employ business coaches because most of them are 19 with an NLP qualification. All of my coaches within our organisation are all businesses that are at scale, that are our clients, that have successful businesses who we've trained how to coach. Okay, because there's nothing worse than being coached by someone who's not in the fucking game themselves, right? So all of the support you're going to get live is going to be really, really beneficial, and it's not going to be theoretical. You're also going to get 3 years of support ongoing. I don't want to just train you and say, off you go, good luck. I want to work with you for the next 3 years, okay? I know what it takes and I know what I'm going to give you. And if you take what I give you and you ask the right questions and you allow the support to take place and you do what you're shown, okay, you're going to get the same results as well. So you're also going to get access to the online home study, which we've broken down and modularized. And so you can go back through, whether it's the Facebook component or whatever it is, you can go through it as many times as you want. But the best part is with the online is every few months when something new is added to the program, we update it. And so you get the access to the online home study for Nail It and Scale It. But more importantly, you get access to it for life, including all of the updates. And anytime you want to come back to Nail It and Scale It in the future, you get 50% off to come back in the future as well, which is pretty darn cool. I'm sure you would agree. Now, the biggest question that people have at this point is, Kerwin, it sounds amazing, but I'm sure it's going to cost money. Of course it costs money. Okay, and anything great, anything of great value is worth investing in. Anything. but it's about understanding the value of the problem that you've got. Because I don't want you to invest in this if you don't have a significant problem, okay, that is worth more than the cost of the solution that I'm going to present to you right now. And the reality is, this is why we want to talk to you on the phone, to make sure that this is right for you. Okay, we want to identify, is the cost of your problem significant? Are your challenges big enough to warrant the investment? Because the investment, well, let me ask you this. If I offered it to you for free, would you take it? Yes or no? I want you to actually answer this out loud. If I offered it to you for free, maybe we should give one away for free, just at random. Okay, maybe we will. If I was to offer this to you for free, would you take it? Yes or no? Yes or no? Click fucking thumbs up if it's a yes, right? Okay, of course you would. Why? Because it's free. There's no downside. The only downside is the psychological fuck that you're going to give yourself if you take it. Let me explain why. There's no value in free. If I give you something for free, there's no commitment. There's no skin in the game. And that's not what business is about. Business isn't a part-time pregnant kind of game. Oh, maybe I'm pregnant, maybe I'm not. You're either fucking in or you're out. That's the reality of the situation. Okay? And I'm not saying taking something for free will remove you from that, but I need you to understand there is no value in free because it's free. Okay? There might be value in the information, but if you aren't invested in what you've got, if there's not skin in the game, chances are you're not going to do a lot with it. So here's what I know. There's got to be a point between free and what you can actually afford. Because the moment I put a dollar sign on it, some of you are just going to check out and go, it's too hard. And I get that. But I want to challenge you in your decision-making process. Right now, you are, in this moment, the sum total of your entire existence, but you're also the sum total of your decision-making processes. And I'm going to suggest that some of you, your decision-making processes are fucking broken. Reason being is because some of you haven't learned how to make a good decision. This right now is a good decision, okay? But we've got to calibrate. We've got to essentially work out how good a decision it is in the context of your situation. But the moment I put a dollar figure on it, I know exactly what's going to happen. A few of you are going to go, well, it's just too hard. But there's got to be a point between free and what you can afford. Because if you can afford something, that's the equivalent of being free. You can do it. The question is what have you attached to that? So my question to you is, if I can make this affordable, and I want you to think about this, if I gave it to you for free, all of you would take it, all of our events would be sold out for the next 10 years, okay? Easy. And there'd be no value in it for you because you wouldn't be truly committed. But there's got to be a point between free and a number that you can actually afford. Okay, my goal is to find out that number, but what I want to know from you is, if I can find that number, and only if I can find that number, are you going to do something? Are you going to at the very least act? It's not even a guarantee you're going to get in, but are you going to act? Okay, if I can do this for you, if I can make this affordable for you, are you going to act? That's all I want to know. Because if you are, I'll make this absolute no-brainer for you. Any other day of the week, if you want to come in and do the live event, like the live in-person event, okay, it's $5,999, okay? Yes, we do event specials, but that is the price any other day of the week. Yes, there are payment plans available on top of that, but the starting point for Nail It and Scale is $5,999, okay? Basically $6,000, okay? What we will do, for those of you that want to attend the live event, so the physical in-person event and the broadcast, we're going to do it for $3,999, okay, which gets you not only the broadcast, okay, broadcast being 6 to 8 of May, but you also get the live event, which is August 24, 25, 26 in Sydney. You get both for $3,999, which is a bargain. Yes, that is for the paid in full price, I should say. We do have payment plans available. So if you are attracted and you go, well, I don't actually have the $3,999, but I can actually perhaps put on a payment plan, speak to one of the guys, okay, to work out and see if it's going to be right for you based on your current situation. However, if you just want to attend the broadcast only, we've never done this before, we'll never be doing it again. This is the only time, let me make this abundantly clear, this is the only time we'll be ever doing a broadcast NISI digitally. Once it goes back to normal, okay, we will not more than likely be doing broadcast digital NISI ever again. So this is the first and last time. So if this is the time, if this is the one that you've wanted, then here's my advice to you. Grab it with both hands and run, because we're only going to do the live, I should say the broadcast, for $1,999, which is a fucking bargain. And I'll tell you why. I charge $5,000 an hour, one-on-one, okay? And you've got to buy 10 hours in advance, okay, in order to get them. We're about to put up to $7,500 an hour because it's not valuable returns for my time. So 10 hours of my time is currently worth $50,000. You're going to get 36 hours with me over 3 days. Do the math. This is an incredible discount on what we could consider an atrocious price. And I know for most people, they can't afford my consulting. But please understand, I am in the game of leverage. I want to help as many people as possible. If I wanted to be a consultant, I'd only be working with maybe 5 or 10 people. I don't want to work with 5 or 10 people. I want to have a bigger impact, global impact like we're having right now. So the choices you have available to you. If you want to attend both the broadcast, the broadcast digital, the digital broadcast, and the physical event in Sydney for $3,999 paid in full, or if you want a payment plan, that gets you in the room and on the broadcast. If you just want the digital broadcast, it's $1,999. But I know some of you probably have someone you want to bring with you. And it's not like we can bring our whole team over to our house right now to watch this. So if you want to bring a second person, a partner, it's a partner is by bed, by blood, or by business, which means you're either sleeping with them, you're related to them, or you're working with them. Can be all three. I've seen Game of Thrones. We know what it's like. If you want to bring, someone with you, or if you want to get another license for the event, we'll actually do it for 50% off for your partner. The second ticket. 50% off the second ticket. So the choice you have available to you is $3,999 paid in full. That gets you broadcast, the digital broadcast, and the live event. Or if you just want the broadcast digital, it's $1,999. So for those of you who are keen right now, click on the link that you're seeing on this page, go through and you will fill out an appointment schedule. Now this appointment schedule is for a few things. Number one, we want to answer any questions that you've got, because some of you might not know, if this is still for you, but you've got some questions about something. Number two is for those of you who aren't sure if this is really for you. Is your business really warranted? And for number three, for those of you who know that you want to do it, just book in a call. We want to know more about you, your business's situation and circumstance, because as I said, I'm not in the business of taking money off people who can't afford it. I'm in the business of making sure that we work with the right people. So fill that out, have a look at it. Would love to have a bit of a chat with you, but my advice is don't sit there and wonder what the fuck if. It's not going to cost you anything to have the conversation, but it is going to cost you something if you do nothing. And one of the things that I say to people is, if you're serendipitous, I'm a serendipitous kind of guy, right? And I use this as a bit of a joke. It's kind of a shit joke, but you'll get the point. A guy goes fishing. He goes out in his fishing boat. It's quite rough. The boat sinks. And he's clinging to an esky. It's the only thing that's keeping him alive. He's in rough seas and he's screaming out to God, God, please save me. God, please save me. Right? And sure enough, a frickin' helicopter comes over. And he goes, go away, I'm waiting for God. And the Coast Guard's like, what the fuck? And goes away. 2 more helicopters, 3 more trawlers. He waves them all away, go away. Whilst all the same time screaming, God, please save me. God, please save me. The dude drowns, goes to heaven, sits there with God. He's like, God, what the heck? He goes, what do you mean? He goes, I asked you for your help. He goes, mate, I sent you 3 helicopters and 3 trawlers. What were you waiting for? He goes, I was waiting for you. He goes, I was looking for you as the sign. He goes, the sign was there. You just didn't see it, pal. Don't be that guy. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't be the person who waits until it's too late to look back and go, oh, what if I had done something? Then maybe things would have been different. Now, I said to you guys at the very beginning, if you hang around, I've got a little surprise for you. Now, the little surprise for you is going to be a little bit of a journey. We've had a couple of our guys put some films together, put some videos together. So we're going to show you a short clip, followed by a little bit of a docu-story of some of our clients. Now, have I left anything out, boys? Did we leave anything out? The currency. The currency? Oh, this is Australian dollars. Thank you very much, Maddie, my financial controller. This is in AUD. So whatever your currency is right now, depending on which way it's traveling up the Forex trading sheet, doesn't matter. It's all in AUD, Australian dollars, not American dollars, although we probably should have done it in American dollars, but we're not. AUD, which for those of you in North America means it's going to be a nice little discount for you. So check this out. My name is Kerwin Ray. Thank you so much for attending. I love you guys very much, but I want you to watch this because you said you'd stick around. I said I was going to give you something, so make sure you check this out. You ready?
Who's fucking pumped? Who's ready for a big 3 days? Oh, you guys have no idea what you're in store for.
Breathtaking. Feels really infinite. I don't want to play small anymore.
Brilliant. I think I've fallen in love with Kerwin.
You have been trained to lose, and you're now in this boot camp. And in this boot camp, you're going to fucking win whether you like it or not.
Absolutely life-changing.
This has been by far the best 3 days ever. It was awesome.
Being able to recognize my power.
The energy, the networking, just like the whole experience is just amazing.
If you need to make more revenue, if you need more clients, if you need to know how to plan your business in a strategic way in order to hit big goals, if you need to learn how to scale your business and grow your team, then this program is for you. Imagine 3 days immersed with me where we cover all aspects of business, but we do it from an immersive but also an execution standpoint. And we're looking at 5 key areas. We're looking at your psychology, marketing, sales, we're looking at your leadership, and we're looking at your planning and how we integrate these 5 key areas to grow your business and your brand quickly. Nail it and scale it, the world's leading fast growth program for business. You give everything that you've got. No excuses. You raise the bar. Baby, raise the bar. Here's a little video that our team put together following the stories of people who not only thought about coming to Nail and Scale, actually attended Nail and Scale and had their lives impacted in some kind of way. Check this out. I think you'll enjoy it.
Nail and Scale, it is a life-changing experience.
My business has grown by 4 times.
We've had 2 record years since I've been with Kerwin.
The business is tripled in revenue.
We are now just turned inside out within the business.
We've increased our annualised revenue by nearly 2.5 times.
I've 9x'd my business in 2.5 years.
I've 5x'd my net profit.
Double revenue and increased percentage of profit.
Revenue doubled.
In 7 months, we've gone from about 100,000 to about 1.1 million.
We have 7x. I've gone from 19 members to now 21. I've opened my 3rd clinic.
I went to Nissi expecting for it to be a social media extravaganza, and it was like completely different.
I didn't really know what I was in for. I didn't know what 3 days was actually going to cover.
If you're signing up for marketing, you're going to get a whole lot more.
It was a big surprise to me.
It's totally opened my eyes to a whole new process. It's not just about your business.
It's not just business.
It is a life-changing experience.
Completely different, next level.
Unexpected, to be honest with you.
Absolutely life-changing. I've been texting my friends saying, this is life-changing. Everybody's sitting on the sidelines thinking about it. They need to just get up and do it.
When I came to Fast Growth Summit and then Nail It and Scale It, I didn't want to be around people. I was nervous, I was anxious, I couldn't be around a crowd, nothing. And I speak on stage, I talk at symposiums, I talk in front of thousands of people.
We saw immediate changes within our business. We started with a team of 5 talent. We are now a team of 8 talent.
In the last 5 months, we went from opening to getting nearly 1,400 members already.
We've now grown from 1 caravan to 15 caravans in 12 months.
I'm earning more money now in 1 year than it would have taken me 3 years to earn in film and television, but I'm only working 10 hours a week.
For me, it's not even about financial. I'm not on the tools anymore. I'm now running the business, I'm working on the business, I'm making sure the team and the business is running efficiently and well, and I love having the freedom and the space to be able to develop that.
Everyone's been saying, oh, you should try social media. I just thought, nah, it's not for construction. But after attending the Growth Summit, I applied it, and just like that, heaps of work. All my work now has come from social media, so it's made a huge impact.
In one night, I wrote a book and 5 videos.
I just had no idea that I could actually price myself at that level. It's basically given me the confidence to go and do what I need to do.
Everyone can get benefit from being here.
Anyone, really anyone, from startup to somebody that's got a already successful business and want to grow it further. So I think it caters to everybody.
I feel like it's life-changing, not only for me personally, but also for our family. It's about the real connections you get with people, about developing your own sense of self.
The mix between like the business development and the personal development, they're so intertwined.
I think the biggest thing has been like the personal growth as well, in terms of better relationships.
Incredibly beneficial for me and for my children, I'm sure, for the kids at home.
I feel like I found myself.
For me, it looks like literally cutting my skull, looking down into our inner self. And the relationship, the communication flow, the relationship has developed. And we are as a family, and not only with him, with my daughter, we feel so much closer.
One thing about Nail and Scale that I really thoroughly enjoyed that I actually haven't seen being activated at other events is the fact that he has allowed us to have that time to network.
I remember coming into Nissi with an attitude of my team's not doing this and my manager's not performing here, etc., and Kerwin saying that everything is your fault at the end of the day. And that really resonated, that really hit home. And I just had this massive realization. It's like, shit, I am in control of all of this mess, but then also the potential to turn it around. And that's what I really believe in and what I really worked on, is creating a life that I would love waking up to every single day, where I have freedom. And yeah, I'm lucky to say that I've got that now.
This is definitely for the entrepreneur that wants to think big.
You don't even have to be a business owner. You just have to be like, man, I just want to do more in my life.
I know it's a business course, but this is life.
When I first came here, I thought this is going to be some business thing. I'm not that business group, I'm just a tradesman. And then coming here, it's like, holy shit, like this is where I need to be. And this is not just about business, it's overall package. It's your life, you know.
My biggest win is reconnecting with my family, which is not what I joined for. I joined for business, and it's my biggest win has been the reason I started the business. I started because I had disconnected from my family.
It's just given me more opportunity to spend time with Noah and spend time with family and do things that matter like that. To be able to have that time and not worry about how the bills are going to be paid or feel guilty about spending time doing that.
I basically only work one morning a week now, if maybe two, and I'm able to wake up every morning, see my son, play with him, take him for a walk down the beach with my wife, and you know, have this really nice balance between successful business, a dream come true on that side, but then also the family life and presence with the family at the same time. It's yeah, it's been absolutely incredible.
We are coronavirus ready, and our business has never looked so innovative, and for that I have to be so grateful to Kerwin.
I'd just like to put a big thanks out to Kerwin for all of the tools that he's taught me, but especially around planning.
Everything Kerwin was teaching us about the 4 stages of getting prepared for the impact of this coronavirus, and then having the conference actually go digital midway through. We learned so much about how to pivot and how to adapt and how to change in the new environment. Couldn't have done it without Kerwin and the KTM and everything that you guys passed on to us.
The first thing I ever said to Kerwin was, I don't think you know what you did for our marriage.
I'm just a better human, I think. A lot more relaxed, you know, a better father, a better husband.
Yes, it's an investment, but it's an investment in yourself. If you're looking at it financially, you'll make that money back.
If I put it down to one word that I wasn't feeling before I started to now, is happiness. I feel much happier, I'm in a much better place. The relationships with my family, my partner is just gone from here to here, and it's just been amazing.
Nail It and Scale It opened doors and gave me the opportunity to hear what was possible.
It was everything I could have ever wished for and more.
He saved our business, and he improved our relationship. And I'm so grateful forever to him. I haven't seen such an incredible human in my life, to be honest. He's an incredible human. He leads by example.
Did it, you know, 10x my business? No, not yet. But did it 10x my life? I get emotional I get emotional because it 10x my life.
Initially, we had a team of 5. We've grown to a team of 12.
In terms of team growth, I've guess we've gone from a team of 4 to like a team of 15.
We grew around 20% in revenue just in 3 months.
I was doing between 90 to 100 hours a week, and now I'm doing between 40 and 50.
We were sitting roughly about the $700,000 turnover mark. We managed to grow that to like 1.2.
It almost feels like I've been working for a year, but it's only been 8-9 weeks effectively in terms of the growth that we've had.
We've been able to delegate more, grow the team, bring more talent on board, and enjoy a lot more freedom with my wife, with my son.
We have created things that, you know, a few months ago I didn't think was possible, and we've been able to do that in a couple of weeks.
If there's any part of you that knows something that you need to do, this is it.
For me personally, like now it's a whole new journey of me and me standing up and me finding myself and me doing things that I never, well, I'm gonna say never dreamed of. Maybe I dreamed of, but you know, now I'm actually doing them.
I learned so much about a business that I knew nothing before, and yeah, we are ready to take it to another level.
I loved the quantum stuff.
The sales matrix was amazing, definitely going to be using that.
It sort of connected all the dots, all the questions that I had, even questions that I didn't even think I had.
It's about in here and connecting those things and just being aware. That's probably been my biggest takeaway, has been mindset and planning.
The session that they did here on planning was insane.
I think the planning was certainly a big one for me. I didn't realize how easy that is.
Well, the planning tool's a real eye-opener.
Being able to attach
scratch and implement a really simple planning system. It took the fuel that we had and it created a rocket for it to just explode. Only recently we cracked the 10 million in revenue, and now we've just launched our 24th franchise. The opportunity to apply any of these principles to create any of those outcomes is available.
It's been so enlightening. It's been great, absolutely.
It was just incredible, you know. Been to some seminars before in the past, and like this has been by far the best 3 days ever. It was awesome.
The fundamental thing is that in order for you to be successful as a business owner, you need to have the right psychology, you need to have a support framework and team around you that support your personal growth, and you need to have a very clear direction in how you're going to be successful and where you go to fulfill your purpose in life.
And if you're thinking about doing this, then just do it.
It really is anybody, just young, old, whatever, just recharge your life.
I just thought I have to go for it, because if not now, then when? You can sit in your own life and think, oh, maybe next time, or I'll wait until this happens, or I'll wait till that happens, but I can tell you more than anything, never wait, just do it now.
If your gut is saying to do it, then do it. Take that leap, take the leap of faith.
I really had no idea what these 3 days would entail, but I literally have just been following my heart over the last couple of months, so just do it.
It's for everyone that wants to give not just business but life a bloody good go.
The investment you make in yourself will give back to you tenfold in every aspect of your life.
Just do it. You've got nothing to lose. This is just a little investment you make, but you change all your life, your perspective. You've got a real happiness, personal life, and in your business.
It's like nothing else that you've experienced. If you seriously want to grow as a person, be exposed to an incredible community, have enormous amounts of support, take the plunge, because I guarantee you will not regret it.
It will create turbulence in your business to make things happen.
If I don't do this, what am I going to lose?
If you're a business owner in Australia and you want to level up, you want to be surrounded by the right people to help you, with your mindset, with your execution, with your accountability, nail it and scale it's it.
If that sounds like you, I highly recommend this program.
Far out, man. We've had so many of you, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you stay around to the very end. I didn't actually have any plans to come back on, but I thought I wanted to come back on and say thank you to everyone who showed up, everyone who hung around. Yeah, it's the first time I've actually done one of these, and I've got to say, did you boys enjoy it? Yeah. We all really enjoyed it. It'll be interesting to see what happens from here. But just one little note I wanted to share with you guys around the whole current situation. I know we didn't really talk as much about COVID or the corona situation in the actual event itself, but I do want to just kind of make mention that we've seen a dramatic level of change in the last 6 or 7 weeks. To give you guys context as to why we've been so cool and calm, I first came across COVID on January 7th. I think it was on January 19th, I ordered my first 200 masks for the team. On January 29th, we came up with our first bio-threat response plan. And I'm not trying to say this to brag that we were ahead of the curve, but we were. We were about 7.5 weeks ahead of the curve, and as a result, we were able to prepare all of our clients to be 7.5 weeks of the curve. We were able to prepare a 4-phase preparation plan for the response to COVID, which we gave to our clients and that they've been using very successfully. If you haven't seen it, I certainly recommend you check out the abridged version that we've got on social media. But here's what I do now, guys. Obviously, there's been a radical level of change with COVID in the last 7.5 weeks, but I think it's really important to highlight here. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm certainly not an alarmist, but what I do know is we haven't felt, we've got a lot more of the shock to come through, the economic shock to come through at a national level and a global level. Obviously nationally, Australia as a country is faring quite well, better than other countries. My heart goes out to the US, my heart goes out to China, my heart goes out to Iran, my heart goes out to Spain, Italy, France, even Africa and different parts of the world of what we're experiencing right now. But we also know there's more to come, and I don't mean necessarily in terms of the virus, but I do mean in terms of the fallout and impact and the level of innovation and agility and adaptability that's required. And guys, this is less about a sales pitch right now and more about a call for you to really tune into what you need. Because right now, if you know you need help, and I'm really imploring you here, if you know you need help, please don't do it for you. Do it for the people who you are responsible for, if there are people that are... Because if you're sitting there going, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, and you've got kids right now, as a father myself, that really disturbs me. And the reason it disturbs me is if you're trying to make it in this environment and you can afford to do something and you can afford to get the right advice from the right person and you do nothing and you do have the people that are depending on you, I think that's a risky move. I'm not going to apply what I'd refer to as inappropriate pressure, but I am just going to highlight the fact that, you know, if you want to just see how this goes for you, by all means. But one of the things that I'm really highlighting to some of my clients who've been a little bit more blasé is that, look, if you're going to be fine, that's great. If you don't want to create a corona preparation plan, that's great, but why don't you do it for your kids? Okay, just in case, you know, they're going to be affected, and every single time that's been quite effective to get people to, you know, deploy their response plan. But also, please understand, guys, for those of you that work who are working with us already, and if you do work with us, it's not just a one kind of touch off you fuck kind of relationship. We are very relationship orientated. You know, our community where we invite people into who participate at Nail It and Scale It is an incredible community. We've got thousands of people in there who are all aligned, who all share a common goal, which is to grow, you know, as a human, as a business, as a being. And they're very, very generous in the way that they do that. It really is our GPS guidance system, and you know, whenever our clients are in need, they go straight into the graduates area and they post a question, and they get, in most cases, inundated with response and support. And you know, we've had people drive across the country to go and support people in the graduates group, fly across the country to go and support people. And that's just the kind of community that we are, guys. You know, it's not a normal business training program. I think you kind of get that gist by now. It's very different. And the reason it's different is because I understand the mechanics of life. And I won't say I'm a master in the mechanics of life, but I understand the mechanics of life well enough to know that if you just teach someone strategies, they'll deploy with their level of intelligence and perspective that they have. And it's not to deride anyone's intelligence, but it's to understand most people don't know what to do when it comes to growing a business. You know, and most people don't know what to do when it comes to, in most cases, even doing social media. And my goal is to help as many people as I can right now. And my biggest concern, I'll be honest right now, is a whole generation of kids that could potentially be traumatized as a result of their parents' inaction. And inaction by just being able to do something when they can, you know, versus doing something when they can't. And I remember, because I know for some of you money's going to be tight right now, so some of you are like, oh, should I spend the money or should I hold on to the money? And I'm not you need to work that out with yourself, but I'll share a story that I think will resonate with some of you. I had a guy come to me, and I've had this happen like 1,000 times already, but you know, I think this will be a good share that you guys might relate to. He came to the back of the room, and you know, this is maybe 5 or 6 years ago now. You know, we had much smaller rooms back then. I think we had maybe 120 people in the room, and he waited to the end. He goes, "Oh, Kerwin, you know, I just wanted to let you know I really enjoyed the event, got loads of value, but I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to wait 18 months to 2 years before I get a bit of experience. Then I'm going to invest in the training." And I was like, it was at the end of the day, and I was fucked. I was like, oh, I just want to go home. And normally if someone would tell me that, I'd always say to them, well, look, mate, if you're going to train for a marathon, when's the best time to train? Certainly not after the race has started. You want to train beforehand and get all the skills and the knowledge beforehand so that if you start the race, you're at least a little bit equipped. But I was tired and I was fucked and I wanted to go home, and I did. And as a result, I didn't help the guy. I didn't give him that one line. I didn't say to him, that guy, mate, this is like a marathon and you need to prepare. You know, you need to think, you need to do something while you can. He goes, I just got this redundancy, you know, I've got some money, I lost my job, got this redundancy, and so I'm now going in the startup. Long story short, the guy actually messaged me on Facebook. It was maybe 2 years later, 18 months, 2 years, I can't actually remember. But he goes, I don't know if you remember me, and I've got a really good eye for faces. It's uncanny. And I went to his profile and was like, hey, I remember that guy, you know, glasses and a bit of a comb over. And he goes, I don't know if you remember me, but I came to your event. And at the end of the event, I came up and said, I wanted to work with you. I got a redundancy, and I remembered, yeah, I remember this guy. As I said, I've got a bit of an uncanny memory. And he goes, look, I just wanted to let you know, send you a message to let you know that, you know, I've spent all of my redundancy. My wife is divorcing me. I've lost my kids. I'm losing my house. I've got nothing left. Can you help me? And I remember at that time just feeling a punch in the guts. And I just remember going, fuck, if I had taken just another 5 minutes with this guy, you know, instead of putting my desire to go home, you know, if I just put his, you know, at this stage, in my own defense, I'd been like 2 hours answering questions and I was ready to go home, but I could have just spent 5 more minutes, you know, and I didn't. And as a result, he sends me the story and I see my role and I see my responsibility in that and I see my part that I played. And I was like, trying to be as guilt-free as possible and go, well, it was up to him, it was his choice, but I just knew I could have done more. And it was at that point I had to, through tears, send him an email and say, I'm sorry, my friend, this is on you. I should have taken more time to convince you, but you knew the situation you're in and you didn't take advantage of the opportunity that was there. You now have to deal with those consequences. Unfortunately, my friend, I'm not a charity. And as much as I'd love to help you right now, I'm going to send you some free resources, but you need to work this one out in yourself. And when you are financial and are able, I'd be the first person in line willing to help you. Now that might sound a little harsh, but you've got to understand the reality of the world that we live in right now. I give away more free information, tactical information than anyone I know. So it's not a question of do I give enough information away, I give away plenty. But what I do know about this program is it has the potential to change people's lives. You know, we've had people's lives that are saved. We save people's lives just on social media. But we've saved many lives at Nail It and Scale It. We've saved many marriages at Nail It and Scale It. And one of the reasons we have these incredible results is because we don't just work on the business. You know, we work on you, the owner, the entrepreneur, the person who's driving it. Because if you've got shit in your field, if you're working through trauma, if you're trying to heal, you know, they're all the things that are going to play out in your existence. And they're the things that are going to play out that you're probably going to need some support with. You know, someone who's experienced a disproportionate level of trauma and death and, you know, illness and all sorts of cool stuff. I know what it's like to go through a whole bunch of stuff. But I also know what it's like to be surrounded by others who've been through a whole bunch of stuff, who can support you while you're going through your own stuff as well. So guys, this was, as I said, it was less of a sales pitch. I had no intent to come back on. We've had, what's the latest numbers? We've had, wow, we've had almost 200 people that have applied for the program. So those 50 tickets are going to go real fast. And as I said, I'm not coming back on to sell. We sell everything out. I'm coming back on because I just want you to think about where you're at and what's going on right now, but also start to think about the preparation of what's coming next. Because there is more to come, guys. You know, more in terms of iterations of what this or other viruses could look like and the changes that come from that. But also there's going to be a number of iterations at a geo-economic level, at a geopolitical level. And we've got to be aware of that, and we've got to be innovating literally as it's coming down the chain, as it's happening, not waiting too long. So look, guys, I'm gonna get off now. For those of you who want to keep talking, let's keep saying something, Kerwin. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, don't know what happened there. I think I hiccuped, or somebody hiccuped. But guys, as I was actually saying, I'm just wrapping up now anyway. But I do want to thank everyone that's hung around to have a bit of a chat. I really enjoyed this, and I'd really love to know what you thought. Like, what did you enjoy? What didn't you enjoy? How can we make it better? I don't know if you've observed, but we're really trying to integrate webcasting as the new media, I guess you could say, for information transfer, you know, in a digital live, because I know a lot of people do webinars, and we want to just do something a little bit different. So I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know below. Of course, you know who I am. My name is Kerwin Ray, and I want to say thank you so much for coming, guys. From my family to yours, from my heart to yours, thank you, love you, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.
Into my eyes, you know you're gonna see that fire. If you're standing in my way, it ain't gonna be your day. Oh, bleeding till I own this dream, build it like you've never seen. Even at the mountaintop, I'm never gonna ever stop. I won't wait another minute, no, I won't. I'm a man on a mission. I'm a man on a mission. I don't need no permission. I'm a man on a mission. Take it up now, take it up. I ain't waiting and wishing. Take it up now, take it up. Oh, I got that ambition. Take it up now, take it up. I'm a man on a mission. Won't wait another minute, no, I won't home.